Well, this is the Nintendo Miracle Piano.
This video marks the 20th anniversary of the Cinemassacre channel, and we kind of knew we had to talk about it. We have to celebrate the channel. We have to talk about the retrospective that James put out recently. And I was thinking, you know, me and EJ aren't enough. Let's get a guest. And at first I was thinking Hats Off Entertainment, right? Because he wanted to come back on the show at some point, Joe, and I wasn't able to get in touch with him. And the clock was ticking. Jay from OSW Review, he was like, oh, you got to get Jason on. He's like, Jason's the guy. Like, I want to hear it because Jason will have all these opinions and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking that.
You know what's fun? I think I'm the most frequent guest in the history of this show.
Oh.
I have never been on to talk about James. Never, not one time. Never invited me. It's always someone else.
I think that you're above it, frankly.
Ready to roll around in the mud.
One of your most popular videos ever, not the one where you're pacing, but the one where it's like there's a thumbnail of him going ass. That was like when your channel was smaller, right?
Well, that was my first video that ever got any views ever. And it got a lot of negative attention. It wasn't like you guys where like most of the attention was like, oh yeah, we're with these. Like, what is up with James? It was like everybody universally hated that video and thought I was stupid because I was early. This is before behind the scenes. This is before like all the memes. This was before Cinemassacre Truth was what it was. I was like, because every time James would release an episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd, I would have the same conversation with just random people like on Discord. And I'm like, I need to memorialize this in a video because it's like we have the same exact discussion every time.
And the AVGN, it's gotten stale. You've been eclipsed by funnier, more informative, and frankly better critiquers in the YouTube gaming space.
And it's like, it's clearly he doesn't give a shit. He's not writing the videos, blah, blah, blah. And I just like said that. And then people weren't ready. So
yeah, sometimes you got to get ready. Kev is still not quite ready, but he contacted me. He was like, hey, anyway, we could connect for that video. I have a few things to say about it. And I thought, yeah, no, that's a panel. Jimmy, Jason, this is going to be great. So I told Jay from OSW, I said, you're going to be relieved. We got Jason and we got Jimmy. And he goes, well, that's a hell of a monkey's paw.
Ah, damn. Sorry, Jay. Damn.
The finger curls.
You get Jason, but you also get Jimmy. Jimmy, welcome back to the podcast. So good to have you.
If anybody says anything bad about James Rolfe in this episode, I'm going to snap. I'm just letting you guys know that off front.
They're always fucking with him.
Always fucking with him. Hey, I'm going to make one opening statement super quick, and if it's not appropriate for the show, feel free to cut it. But what in the world? What was up with what's his face from Screenwave? Couldn't hop in the video. He's too important. What was that?
Oh, no. So we got a few questions about that. Like, why was Justin not on camera? I'll tell you why. And Jason can back me up. He was there.
Yeah.
We didn't ask him to be on camera at any point during any of that. In some of our correspondence in the past, I had like floated the idea of like, would you ever like to come on the show, like the podcast? And he was like, happy to answer your questions, happy to chat with you, but I'm not able to do, or I'm not interested in being on camera, or something like that.
Do you think we should just stop f***ing around and go find Justin Silverman?
We're just going to go straight to him and then work from there. Ask him what we should do.
So naturally, when meeting up with him, I wasn't going to throw a camera in his face. We did do a surreptitious video of him fixing an arcade. At no point did I ask, and at no point did I try.
Yeah, the picture was his idea, right?
Yeah. So then he goes, do you guys want to come see the backdrop? He brought us back. He was like, we said, can we take pictures of this? He said, yes. It was very clear we had a microphone. It was very clear we were pointing. So it's like anything. It's like the whole time you're wondering if any moment he's going to say, hey, I'd rather not be, or whatever. And then we said, can we take photos in front of it with you? And he said, yeah, of course. So I actually think probably if we had asked, he would have said it was fine. Because he like does interviews for channels with 20 views and stuff. I just felt weird asking. That's really what it came down to.
You know, what comes to mind for me, for a celebrity of his status, being that he's there more so to piggyback off of James's success, is my father introduced me to the drummer of Rush, Neil Peart, when he was still alive. And I was young, and he said, go over to him and give him these records, because I don't want to bother him, and make sure you don't bother him. Just give him the records, say thanks for all the years of great music, and don't ask for a picture. You guys approach this dude from Screenwave with that kind of respectability? You can't.
It's not about his level of celebrity. He had at one time said, I don't want to be on the show. And that was enough for me to be like, well, then I'm not going to like impose the camera on you.
I was just surprised because it was a simple meet and greet press sort of situation where even if he was in the video, he would just be saying, hello, isn't this great? It replicates James' basement perfectly. And it wasn't like he was going to be pressed for some inside info or anything.
I will say, look, I'm comfortable saying this. Jason went ahead and said, can you explain to us how you Can you give us the behind the scenes of when you were behind the computers talking about streaming?
Well, his answer was it was 2 separate video calls. He did one with Scott and he did one with James separately, and he cut them together to try and make one coherent conversation. Anybody watching that video knows that they were not all on a video call talking together. It was too weird. They clearly just weren't.
That was an old school practice, by the way, before you had things like Riverdale. Riverside.
Yes.
Sorry. And Justin's his name, by the way. That just came to me. I had a rough week, y'all.
Yeah. He's a celebrity to me. I used to unironically love his YouTube channel, like when he was doing it.
Before James collaboration?
Oh, yeah, years before James. Yeah.
See, I'm the type, I was not aware of him before Cinemassacre ScreenWave collaboration.
You know Ryan, right?
He's the name that comes up that I'm not familiar with.
Well, this will be very relevant to today's discussion because he gets brought up in this 20th anniversary a lot.
But this is Ryan right here. Hey, what's up?
You first see him in the video, I don't know, 2009 or so, Jason?
Something like that.
When it was like James was incurring all of these fees, thousands of dollars a month for hosting the website, because the website was basically YouTube for them.
So this right here was the bill from 2 months ago. $1,197 for the month. This was last month's bill. $1,579.50. What the fuck?
And it was Ryan, a friend of James. We learned that in this video. I always thought he was a Mike connection, but apparently he was a James connection.
And one more quick thing about Ryan. I do remember, like, back when I was first meeting him, James knew him first.
But Ryan set them up with a home server. And then years later, he opens this outfit, this, like, I don't know, multi-channel network broker for YouTube thing called ScreenWave, now better known as Retroware. Is the screen name gone?
Yeah, they seem to have completely shied away from that. Like, they bought Retroware, and I thought that was just going to be like their gaming outfit, like for their games, but it seems like that just took, like, that's just the name now.
Well, anyway, Ryan is the boss of that whole operation. They call him, if you ever hear Big Ryan, it's because there was some, a lot of the show will be like Frankie explains to Kev, like Cinemassacre Truth memes.
I want to say something real quick I didn't get to say last time that we spoke, to kind of put a bow on how odd my introduction into this space was, but we'll make it make sense. You know what's so weird? The fact that things can be niche and cult no matter how many millions of views they get. I guess I don't know if you want to say that's how many millions of people are in America. But what I did not say was when certain people are like, you should have known before you made these videos who you were talking to. I'm like, I didn't, because I told Frankie personally on the phone, I have never before now met another single soul in real life that knows what James Rolfe for Cinemassacre is.
Totally fair. In fact, one of the reasons that some people enjoyed our commentary on this topic was because I think even though it had been going on Reddit for a couple of years, I don't think anybody had ever heard like the term slobs used like aloud from like a human being. You'd see posts sometimes that would crack me up. They'd be like, I tried to explain to my wife what's going on with James Rolfe, and she thinks I'm a psychopath.
No, it's so strange though when you think about the fact, like you can take any number of his classic videos that have like millions and millions of views, and yet it's always amazing to know that millions and millions of followers can still be cult status. It's
I think you're right. I've you know, with politics, I noticed that, especially where it's like you can have some massive political podcast that doesn't in any way shift polling or shift like votes. And you're like, I guess that's just a testament to how many people there are.
To presume that your 1 in 64 million chance thing is a miracle is to significantly underestimate the total number of things that there are. Maths.
Yeah, because 3 million people globally doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I think that's how hard it is to be what you would consider legitimately, certifiably famous, is that James talked about in the early days, like going to conventions, and he couldn't get away from fans, and it made him nervous. Swarms of fans. Yet, to go to his local grocery store, he could probably go there comfortably.
Shitty cheese. I was watching the 20th anniversary, and I was also watching the Scott the Woz Toe Jam and Earl episode, and I was realizing I've been doing an impression of James. It's something along the lines of like, quicksand, what the fuck? It's like the kind of like slightly whiny. And I realized in his older age, it's more like, what the fuck? It's down, it's more gravel.
Oh, yeah.
Boom! You lost, motherfucker!
It's quicksand!
Hey, guys, he's just trying his best.
I'm gonna fucking lose it. Yeah, they published 3 videos for the 20th anniversary. And this is, to be clear, this is the 20th anniversary of the YouTube channel, Not Cinemassacre itself, right? Because that's back with James with the crustache and all that. Like that's, you'd have to go back to 6 flicks and maybe even before that.
The first use of my classic frown.
Yeah. James Nintendo Nerd, the YouTube channel.
That's a good question to ask him, is exactly what film number the Cinemassacre moniker starts.
Yeah, indeed. Like when is the first James Rolfe film a Cinemassacre production?
Some people always thought it was strange that he included his web videos as part of his filmography, but one of the things I argue against when people are like, come on, he's just reviewing games, I'm like, no, every one of those game reviews could technically count as like a short film. A lot of them have a storyline, they have a structure, and if you really want to be honest about like the games that he didn't get that invested in, he was just sort of like the spokesperson for the review. It's almost like an acting performance.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dan Olson said.
James has skills as a performer. His ability to suppress his self-consciousness and yell, scream, fart, and vomit for an audience isn't to be downplayed.
Yeah, but I just didn't like his tone or his face.
I thought he was fucking snobby. I bought a shirt off of him, and so we're good now. He can come on the show now, too.
Yeah, and he had that chick riding with him you told me about.
Oh.
So I got to take back all my comments.
I was wondering whether or not Dan is with Lindsay Ellis.
No.
And I was like, they're sitting next to each other. Yeah, EJ pointed out, James Nintendo Nerd. So for those who don't know, it's still true, by the way. Whatever you call your channel when you first create it will never quite go away. You can change the app, the handle. You can rebrand as Jimmy has.
Bimmy and Jimmy? I'm sorry, I just can't get over that. Bimmy and Jimmy.
So he's a stuck James Nintendo Nerd.
Well, that's his @ like his actual @ is still James Nintendo Nerd.
Is that
I'm pretty
right?
sure.
So anyway, the first one was the Miracle Piano, right, for the NES.
Yeah.
You've already forgot about this.
Yeah, I kind of did. It was pretty forgettable, but I'm glad he released it.
Yeah, so they were talking about back in those days when they first garnered some audience, Mike and James were just trying to fire out some new ones to try to satisfy the demand.
Fascinating look into like the primordial soup phase of AVGN, because you can tell it might even be like pre-Karate Kid. It's just the creative process for this video was like invite, I'm assuming, Mike to hold a camera while he just riffs, and that's all the video was. That was the extent of like the planning, which is it's just fun to see that.
And then they try to cut the riffing into something.
Kids won't have the patience for this. I'm serious. I don't get this.
And I think James said he actually he had to basically cut it now. And he had to do a little bit of VO and impersonate himself back then.
But now, after all these years, that episode is finished, and it's complete 20 years in the making.
I can definitely see why he didn't put it out back then, but also, like, it would have been fine. Like, if he put that out in 2006, it would have fit in with 2006 internet.
Yeah, or if he had put it out as, like, one of those little ScrewAttack videos, like, anybody would have slipped that shit up.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, Jason's right, because think of part of the reason James probably popped off was not just the appeal of his series, but, like, what else was super competent in, like, the earliest moment of YouTube? Because that's back when you could pop off just from, like, filming your cat.
Yeah, it was cat videos, little animations with
Fred,
sometimes,
you
like...
remember Fred? Fred was a dude who just made his voice high pitch and, like, rolled around in, like, bathwater and screamed. Hey, it's Fred! He got a feature film from Nickelodeon out of it.
A Miracle Piano was such a cut above that because there was a little bit of editing.
Yeah.
And I've said it here on this channel a million times, but the thing that really struck me, and I just to frame our discussion, by the way, this conversation is about 20 years of this cool pioneer channel. And so I intend to have a more positive outlook than normal because as they were going through their history, I was like, I love this fucking channel. I'm such a fan of so much of the content that's on here. And we'll talk about a little bit of the, political intrigue of Cinemassacre, but generally, but yeah, when I first saw the TMNT episode, Ghostbusters in particular, Jason and I were driving around when he was here.
Iconic video.
And we just both started cracking up at the Zool building. How fucking ridiculous the Zool building is.
It is a ridiculous part of a game.
Uh-oh. Oh, my God. Oh, fuck.
You have to slog through this boring shit game that's got nothing to do with your favorite movie or your favorite cartoon. And then they're like, tap A obnoxiously to get up the 35
Let's just make it impossible.
Or whatever it is. And you can't avoid the ghost. It's not possible. There's no platforming available to you.
No. No gun, no nothing. You're just screwed.
I remember it being like, wait a minute, you can put together a little show and then he can do another one and then another one will all tune back in as if it were a TV show. Like that's kind of how novel it was.
Yeah, and even just the doing retro gaming content. Like even Nintendo was like finally being like, maybe we should put our games on a virtual console thing so you can buy them. Like even they were realizing the value of going back and looking at retro gaming.
And that wasn't even until 07, 08. And this was 06. So this was, people don't believe, if you're not old enough, you don't believe us. But actually, I believe this was a period of time when like the NES era had been a little bit forgotten. Like people weren't really talking about it, weren't really thinking about it. The retro game scene on YouTube didn't exist. So there was like an appetite for top 10 shoot 'em ups and whatever. I remember, do you guys, some of you who are old enough, do you remember wishing that there was more video game related content on television when you were a kid?
Right.
There was the Nickelodeon one, and there was Johnny Arcade, Video Power with Johnny Arcade. That was kind of it. And I remember, like, I was so, like, whenever that fucking Johnny Arcade show came on, I was like, this is the best. You can go on, like, a video game rampage. The fact that they even just mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog on TV, I was like, yes.
I don't know if this is like an accurate representation of my generation. I turned 30 in like 2 weeks. I don't ever really remember thinking like, yes, they put Sonic in a cartoon. It was more the reverse. I was super excited when Danny Phantom was a show that was relevant when I was a kid, and they had the Danny Phantom PlayStation game. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So it was like more the reverse for me. I don't know if I'm a kid in the early 2000s and y'all are like teenagers in the early 2000s. I can't remember what was the hottest thing based off of a video game that was
Pokemon.
There were the TV shows, that's true. And I loved the Super Mario Brothers Super Show when I was a little kid.
Then there's G4. G4 like came later.
I wanted to watch people play video games and talk about the games themselves. And there wasn't a whole lot of that, but there was, of course, Nintendo Power. There were other ways to engage with video games. And I remember thinking, I was like, when Wikipedia came out and they were like, oh, it's like an encyclopedia, but it's about everything. I was like, oh, can I look up video game shit?
Video games were really underserved.
The fact that there was now a show that I could check in with and laugh about, and there was swearing, so it was a little bit more mature. I was like, this is almost like exactly what I want.
Yeah, it was the perfect time, especially for our age. We were like in college or about to graduate college.
So you had the fact that there was a hunger for retro gaming content, but then you had like the shockability, shock factor of how obscene we liked our videos to be when YouTube was first born. The part of it that didn't need to make more sense than the fact that he said shitload of fuck, and you're like, oh my god, he said that, and it's in a show.
What a shitload of fuck. 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 What a shitload of fucking bullshit.
I think it's a shitload of fuck. I think you better shut your ass.
There was some collision for me, the TMNT episode in particular, where I was like, this guy knows he's being funny.
Okay, all of that just for a pizza? Pizza shit.
Yeah.
And so that makes it funny. But he also is really committing to the bit. And so there was like that, the way, like when he spikes the camera with cow a fucking piece of dog shit.
Cow a fucking piece of dog shit.
I was like, I think he actually is mad at the game, but also he knows this is funny.
As far as I'm concerned, he basically just invented being funny on the internet. I'd never gone to the internet in a context and then laughed. That was like computer lab bullshit to me before I discovered AVGN.
Yeah, well, you didn't see Two Girls, One Cup?
No, I've avoided it my whole life. Now somebody's gonna fucking Rickroll me with it. Unavoidable now.
I saw it, and my mom found the Google history and brought the shit up at dinner.
What's the one where it's like a girl in a bathtub and there's like a geyser of diarrhea coming out? Like that was, people would bring that up in at the school library. Just leave that up.
Yeah, the internet in the early days was fucked up.
Even in the Miracle Piano, you can tell he's effortlessly funny.
Shoot the ducks. Shoot the ducks. Shoot the ducks.
Yeah, he's not self-conscious, right?
Just he's like embodying whatever that is. When he's like, kids or adults, kids obviously, or whatever.
Oh, child or adult? Well, child, obviously.
But what we learned in the book was that at that time he would have been at his job. And I guess Mike was at the same job. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we didn't know that either.
We had jobs separate from YouTube. We actually were working together at the same place, which is a story in and of itself that maybe we'll tell one day. But
I've already told a lot of it, but yeah.
I didn't know that either. I don't think that's in the book.
Because Mike was like, we were both at this job together.
What did Mike do?
And James was like, I wrote about that in the book. And it kind of was...
The editing gig he wrote about, they're both editors, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the Donald Trump boss or whatever, is that it?
Yes. It was like a safety videos. They had to make safety videos.
He had a striking resemblance to Donald Trump and the same bad temper and narcissistic personality. This was long before I ever imagined such a horrible man could become the president.
Do you think Mike is like on camera on those? Like what was Mike's role at this company?
Do you think he dressed as the Joker?
That was later.
That's where they got the costume.
I think that there's nothing that Mike has ever done that's funnier than the Cowardly Lion.
Oh, that's great.
Obviously, Gadget, which is the third video in this series, by the way. He explains the lore of Gadget. That's obviously funny for other reasons. Elmo is funny for other reasons. Cowardly Lion is the funniest he ever was when he meant to be funny. That's what I think.
One time I first took a shit up inside of the barn.
When he's going, and a fuck.
With a nook and a fuck.
Hey man, did you just swear?
Yeah. Fuck you, dick.
Joker was really on point, honestly.
Yeah, I still like that one a little more.
Batman Revenge the Joker. Batman Return of the Joker.
If you had to rank your Jokers, where would Matei? Is he above Joaquin or?
No, but he's right there besides the 60s show, which is like what they were going for. That's that classic Cinemassacre angle to always go towards the most classic shit, and he nailed that.
Okay, so the Miracle Piano, it was raw scraps of a scrapped video, and it was fun to see it. I thought it was a really nice little piece, and I am surprised that it didn't find its way onto ScrewAttack or game trailers at the time. And they mentioned in the 20th anniversary that there were these like ScrewAttack Pokemon mini videos, and I was like, I don't remember that.
You don't remember these?
Maybe those Pokemon things that you did. Those remember those quick Pokemon things or Street Fighter little short things that you did back in 2000? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, now I remember.
Can you describe it to us so maybe I can remember?
ScrewAttack every week would have their quote of the week, and they would just play like a movie quote, and then they would do like a dumb little short skit based about it.
All right, good one. Movie quote of the week.
I think this also tied into Toilet Tuesdays. You remember the toilet video where he's like pointing at a fucking toilet early on in 2006?
Nintendo 64! Oh my god!
Kev, did you visit ScrewAttack or game trailers for this stuff?
Nah, because it would eventually like wind up on YouTube anyways. I don't remember a time where I couldn't access a video because it went to ScrewAttack first. I always noticed the ScrewAttack like distributor logo.
Monster Madness was on the website only for like 2 years.
I went to the website a lot. I never paid for nothing.
Well, you didn't have to pay to go on game trailers of ScrewAttack. It's just that's where the episodes were for a year exclusively.
This is where that's where he was sending the traffic as part of his deal.
Yes.
There would be a YouTube upload of like a piece of the video.
Of a trailer, yeah. It'd be a trailer it would be a trailer to send you to game trailers to watch the full video.
He would make a game trailers episode, and then we'd put the trailer. You remember this? We'd put the trailer on YouTube.
We had to inform people, like, hey, the videos are on another site, Game Trailers. If you want to support us, go over there and watch it on Game Trailers. It might have been a little confusing that we're posting a trailer and we're telling them to go to Game Trailers.
I remember being kind of confused about that because, like, even back then, like, YouTube was becoming the only thing that had reliable videos. So you're just like, oh, I have to go somewhere else to watch it? Okay.
The game trailer stuff lasted like into 2011/2012 era, which was pretty late for that because it in like 2008 that was pretty normal. You go to another website to watch something, but like 2011-12 it was kind of like getting past that era. So I guess I understand being confused then.
And what's the deal with ScrewAttack? They're like remnants of the golden age of retro gaming on YouTube, and now it's not as good as it used to be, or what?
ScrewAttack was a website that wanted to be just like an overall gaming news outlet, and they early on recruited video producers to be a part of their site, and one of them was James Rolfe.
Anybody else as big as him or not?
Well, not like as big as him, but like Guru Larry was one of them in the early days, and there was a whole bunch of other ones that like didn't catch on.
So James is like their star client.
They lucked out completely because I think James had just hit big. He didn't know where to take it really because it was all accidental, and they were like, "Want to sign with us?" And he was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and Stuttering Craig, who owned it, or something like that. He's still around doing clickbait videos or something.
Well, yeah, he's like a podcast. Yeah. So like the way that the story is told is like he signed up with ScrewAttack, and then ScrewAttack are the people who got the deal with game trailers to actually like get them paid. So ScrewAttack made videos for game trailers, and James made video for game trailers, and they would all kind of like be under that umbrella on that website.
And I found myself watching ScrewAttack content because I was already there, which was the whole point. So
they all got views. They would get millions of views. Like even ScrewAttack videos, like when they did top 10 lists and stuff, they'd get millions of views on game trailers, just like AVGN episodes.
And like, Kev, do you remember the episode where it's like a Christmas Carol? It's like his first Christmas episode, and he becomes like an old man, and he's playing the Wii because now the Wii is technically retro.
Yeah, which I don't subscribe to the idea that the Wii is retro. That's modern technology to me, but yes.
Jason doesn't have any opinions about this.
No, I'd say it's retro, but like that's fine.
Over on Waiting for Nintendo, Jason and Hayden have talked about this several times. And
about what I just said, that it's not retro?
Yeah, like what is retro, what isn't retro, and Jason has been very like permissive about what's retro.
Oh, so I mean that just means he's by the book then, right? I I just think we reached a point where it was like, okay, the future is here. Like there's no graphics wise, we don't need to do any more polishing. Whereas like PS1 almost looked like your half rendered first view at 3D graphics. PS2 perfected it a bit. By Wii and PS3, all right, we at least got it. We got everything that you never had in graphics that we could honestly say are of the modern age. Everything from that point on has just been polishing a little bit.
However, the Wii is not an HD. That's the big thing about the Wii. It's only 480.
Right, but that's something that I just don't care about because I just look at the Wii was the pinnacle compared to what you had before it, Nintendo GameCube and then like N64, which loved the N64 and PS1 era, but it was like they rushed into the 3D era with like, this is the best we could do so far. It looks like half rendered what should be what the games look like.
It was the puberty of video.
That's exactly the way I described it to a friend, actually. Yeah.
So anyway, I bring up that episode because one of the ghosts just is Stuttering Craig from ScrewAttack. And what's funny about it is nowadays Craig has come back in POG form. He does a podcast called Side Scrollers. And to say the least, they don't shy away from controversial topics, like of the political and of the cultural.
Oh boy! With a bunch of like VTubers too, sometimes or whatever. Yeah. Like I always see like a thumbnail and it's like an anime girl or whatever.
Yeah. There's like weird AI animation of anime girls and stuff that chat with them. That's something we've never done here on Redco.
Technically, he was doing Side Scrollers back then too. It was a show on early ScrewAttack in like 2006. Yeah, that's where he got the name from. The first podcast I ever listened to in my entire life was Side Scrollers. That's where I first heard the term. Most of the episodes from back then are lost media, however, though, which is sad.
So the Side Scrollers that exist now is him saying, "Hey, guess what? Everybody, Side Scrollers is back."
It's a comeback. Yes, the very like the first episodes of the new incarnation of Side Scrollers is him inviting back in old hosts to like talk to them, and I listened to all of them.
But it's side scrolling and politics?
Well, that's what it turned into.
Political in the sense that like Nerdrotic is political. I think that they have driven views by going with like edgier topics for sure. And they're not like mega successful. I think they have like 150,000 subs and I think the average video is looking around like 50,000, 40,000, something like that. So much more successful than us.
The TL didn't pay attention to Craig's career as he did ScrewAttack from like 06 to like 14. He sells it and then he streams for a few years like video games and stuff. And then he's gone from the internet and he works for a gun company doing media for them for a few years. And then he comes back with new Side Scrollers. That's the Craig story.
Got it.
So that again, that's also where like some of the political stuff, it's going to lean that way when that's, what he did in the interim, I guess.
Oh yeah, if you got a gun, you got to have a political opinion on your gun.
Well, I only bring it up because it's very funny when James does a favor for him, because he'll call James for favors. Like, will you appear in this thing or will you whatever?
Yeah, the real gaming awards. He like
and Twitter loses their mind.
And James doesn't know about any of this.
Yeah, he's unplugged.
I'm doing something a little different. A non-review. Because I refuse to watch it.
It's just James doing a favor for a friend. It's not him making a political statement. It's like, but people don't understand that.
Who wouldn't want to be unplugged in this political climate and just not even know what the fuck is going on?
I'm not gonna see it. Wow. What a novel concept, right?
That's what's so great about what the cat has always said. Hasn't he always said, like, I get you focused on Super Nintendo so you could ignore all, like, the horrors of the world?
There's tons of horrible stuff going on in the world, but this is where you come to talk trivial, fun stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I show you Mike Matei in a lion's costume to get you away for a minute. So they did a 2-hour video. One of the stranger things about the video, we'll just get this out of the way. James is in like his new study, his new author location.
The book room.
And Mike is in like the same old room that, the Cowardly Lion episode was done in, presumably.
And they're facing the same direction too, so it cuts back to them. So it kind of like match cuts them all the time.
We all should have faced the same direction for this podcast. It would have been so funny.
Do a horizontal flip.
At first, when this video started, for the first like 5, 6, 7 minutes, I was worried that it was some shenanigans like the Scott the Woz James call, and that they weren't actually talking to each other, because they both start with really long monologues that don't really address each other. And I'm like, no, don't tell me this is 2 hours of them speaking like not actually to each other. But luckily for us, no, they're actually talking to each other and they do interact.
You can hear the talk back. At first I thought like an interviewer was interviewing them separately, and they were cutting it together as if they were talking. It almost feels like that. But yeah, then you hear the crosstalk, and they're actually and they warm up to each other. It's like they
do.
forgot how to talk.
I think that's what it was. I think they just started awkward. Like they didn't warm up. They just started cold, and the beginning's awkward.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, I don't know if I said this already, but if you want to show your age on the internet, if you've been a creator on the internet for 20 years, that was a common practice. I don't know how many of you guys were creating on the internet. I was like 11, but I was giving it my best shot, putting shit on the internet. And if I worked with anybody else remotely, it was a common thing at that time to be like, whether it was a comedy bit or an interview. If it was an interview, the interview was almost scripted. I'll film my parts, send it to you, you cut it up with your parts, or if it was a comedy bit, it was the same thing. And that also shows when Homeboy collaborated with fucking the guy that stole all his shit. What was his name? The Irate Gamer. These cats finally collabed, and they did it like that. Like, James just in front of the camera, and it cuts into Irate Gamer's video of him in front of the camera, and it's supposed to be.
What do you want to bet that Chris Boers paid him for a cameo? Because there's a bunch of videos where he just paid for cameos.
Yep.
And then he was like, "Oh, this one's starring Dan Aykroyd or whatever."
I would love to know what James's fee is. There's nothing I could possibly think of putting him in, but like, I'd be just curious to know his fee.
I don't think he's on Cameo, so he would have had to. He probably reached out to Screenwave or Justin or whoever and put him in touch with it.
Dude, James as the killer in Rerouting would have set that movie on fire.
Dude, you know something? James is like an actor watching another actor. I always feel like when I'm watching him, he at least believes his own shit up to a certain point. In the movie, regardless of what you think about the movie, I saw the confidence that he believed everything he was saying. But his look, his voice, I wouldn't know what in the world to cast that man as, but it'd be cool to work with him. It would have been cool to work with him before the hairline. I mean, I'm going to be honest. That's not me breaking balls, but because he was more identifiable then. But, you know, he always wears a hat.
Yeah, but he could now be a more kind of Norman Bates style. I don't know. You could do something with him.
He was good in the sequel to his old VHS movie. Was it The Head Incident? And he starts like bugging out.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention that very video where I was like, it seems like most of the time the performance is like, I'm going crazy and I'm deluded. It's almost always that. And an object comes to life. You know, this is the trope.
Yeah. That's what he
tripod
loves.
comes to life or something. Who among us has not made a tripod come to life? I want to say this right up front, too. I have always thought, and maybe not everybody will agree with me, that Mike Matei is a good podcaster. He's not a good act. Well, never mind. I think The Cowardly Lion is great. But
And Joker.
The Joker's great. In the Halloween episode, when he played the guy with the blonde hair, that's fucking amazing.
Oh,
too.
right. The obsessed fan. Yeah, that might be my favorite Mike that you bring it up. Yeah, that's a good one.
Or he played Ernie in a more recent episode. It was one of the better modern AVGN moments. But I've always, I have, you know, when he's not doing Elmo.
Elmo's not here. Suck Elmo's dick. That's my idea.
I have found, like, he has opinions. He's kind of like you, Jason. He's got a lot of, like, little thoughts and ideas that that make him an interesting character, that make me want to listen to him. And I know you didn't like talk about games probably because of Ryan.
No, yeah, Ryan, I can't be doing that.
But I think the Mike side of talk about games, and I also think James and Mike Mondays is basically a podcast, and Mike is driving that podcast too. Earlier this year or last year, when they did talking about like the Haunted Mansion and Disney Halloween stuff, like that was all Mike, and I thought brought a lot out of the videos that he was in. I've always thought that about him. I think that Mike, I've long thought this back way before we were doing any kind of shorts commentary. I was always like, wow, James is really lucky to have him, because James is pretty focused on creative ideas. I want to make a feature-length movie, or I want to do a retrospective on this, or, you know, in so many ways, the identity and personality of the channel. But Mike is the guy who's like, we ought to figure out a way to get out a video once a week. How about I'll come to your house and we'll play a game and I'll record it and I'll edit it. Or like Mike has always had kind of he's lent a mind towards how do we grow this thing.
Even the YouTube channel itself, that Mike set that up. It's in his name. When they got the award for subscribers, they sent it to Mike because it was his channel. Because he was like, "These videos are funny. YouTube is new. We should upload them." He's always the guy who's like, "We gotta." Like, he understands the talent in James and kind of facilitates it.
Yeah, after watching the 20-year anniversary video, I want Mike to produce my shit. I want Mike to be like my executive producer. Like, when I saw just how much of a hand he had in this, I'm like, this cat's a fucking genius.
So in this video, Mike specifically wanted to at least try to clear the air on a few common topics. One of which was, I guess everybody thought it was really weird when one day I just went poof from the channel. And let me explain what, it was because I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. And the two of them are like, yeah, that's what it was. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
Unfortunately, James and Mike Mondays will not be returning. Mike and I talked about it, and he'll be leaving the channel to focus full-time on his streaming, which is his own independent thing, separate from Cinemassacre. Wish him the best of luck on that. You can find him on Twitch at Mike Matei Live.
I think we made an announcement about it, about me leaving, and James's response was really short about it. But I think I had asked him to make it that way because I didn't want a bunch of attention and a bunch of fanfare. Like, Mike's leaving with like explosions and confetti. I was just like, just make it quick. Just tell him I'm on Twitch. That's all it needs to be.
Well, I'm here to tell you, Mike, in case you're watching this, it was a big deal that you left the channel because you're the co-creator of the show. And that's something that rubbed me the wrong way in this video is, again, I'm sure it's Mike being egoless and he never wanted to be a film director himself and all that. So it all makes sense. And in so many ways, his posture was positive for the channel. But repeatedly, he's like, this was not my show, it's James's show. I'm like, no, it's both of your show. South Park is Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Trey Parker is perfectly capable of making things on his own, but South Park is Trey and Matt. And I think AVGN is Mike and James. And I think that's proven.
Yeah, there's a way to word this that's like Mike can always confidently say, not even like claim in a sense that, oh, it's just something I'm proud of. He is like factually almost something like co-owner of Cinemassacre, co-CEO, something like that. And he really revealed in that everything that went into the thought process of keeping this ship afloat, which is like really what it was, but it doesn't look like that to us, especially to a person like me that like, I don't even know. First of all, I don't even really know how to get into Reddit. The browser's always trying to kick me out. I'm not going to download the app. So I haven't seen all this like mischief of like trying to read into what went on behind the scenes. So when he sits there and goes, here's what went on behind the scenes, this shit was somewhat of like a legitimate production, no matter if it was like a 3-4-man production. Screenwave comes in, that's at a certain point when they come in, it's like now it's like an 8-man production. But either way, the impression that was initially felt every time you watch the videos is like this is one dude and his pal. Maybe his pal has some suggestions, but it's so cool to see that there was actually like a lot of thought gone into how to keep this going. And what made me want to hop in on this conversation is some people would say Mike is the real angry video game nerd. Now, I would always brush that off. Now I'm starting to think I could see what you're talking about. But despite the fact that he basically really did launch this channel, launch this man, he could have never been the on-screen personality. So if he really meant that, when he said, if he really meant, I never wanted to be on camera, but I eventually got into the groove of it and decided it's kind of cool to be the co-host sometimes. If he really meant that, this dude has more foresight than a motherfucker into how to make money on the internet, because he's like, nah, this is the star. I got the ideas. That is the most legit producer you could get.
I think he's an essential ingredient. You don't have Cinemassacre if you don't have the filmmaking.
No, he's essential like salt, like paprika. I mean,
James is the filmmaking. James is kind of like a creative head, a creative lead, like a visionary in some ways. Some people might think that's ridiculous, but no, he was the one who's like, let's do 31 reviews across Halloween and let's do whatever. And then Mike was kind of like half, any good producer is also half audience. So Mike was like, well, I can tell you what I like, what I'm seeing, or what I'm responding to. Or I think him being a video game enthusiast in the way that James was not was kind of like a proxy for the potential audience. And so you can't have one without the other. Mike and James, they're like love and marriage.
Whenever there was a James and Mike Mondays episode, which would then turn into an AVGN episode, it was always fun to see the jokes kind of happen in real time and like see, I guess that's a quip Mike said, but like James is saying it now in the AVGN episode.
He was a co-writer. He was a co-creator.
Yeah.
Kev, you would like this. I don't know if you ever saw that 6 Days to Air documentary about the making of South Park that came out, about 15 years ago or something.
Nah, I was never big into them, but I know they're geniuses.
They have to deal with a constant thing, which is like, hey, doesn't Trey do everything? Isn't he the writer, director, does most of the voices? Like, so what does Matt do? Why are you guys co-creators? And it's a valid question.
We could both be good, like the South Park guys. Except Trey does everything. Trey does everything!
If you kind of observe their behind-the-scenes way of, their kind of posture, you figure out that Matt is like an interface for all of the difficulties of, like, Trey is very much the creative, and it's clear that he's uncomfortable talking to studio heads a lot, and he's anxious. He's got an anxious personality type, and Matt is kind of like a rock. He's got like solid, and he gets all the jokes, and he knows how to interface on Trey's behalf. But they were asking Trey, they're like, so it's kind of like being in a band. And he goes, like, you might say that, Eddie Van Halen is the band, and the band is called Van Halen, but without David Lee Roth, he's just a fucking loser.
You can sit there and be like, okay, well, it's all Eddie Van Halen. But as soon as David Lee Roth leaves, you're like, fuck that band. You know what I mean? It's Trey and Matt's the band. And no matter who does what or whatever, that's the band.
It's like basically Matt's David Lee Roth.
I'm just trying to think if Van Halen was the prime example. I'm almost thinking there's like another band that would have been a better example than that, but David Lee Roth is fucking annoying, but I mean...
I think it's a great duo when they both know their role. Like, Mike knew exactly what his role in the relationship was and was able to, like, form himself around James to make it work.
It makes me think about, I've had producers that try to take over a movie, and the producer I work with to this day is like, I want to make sure that the ideas unfold the way the creator wants to, and I only invest because I trust the creator's vision, and I don't ever want to butt in and be like, this is how I think it should go. The only time my producer butts in, the first day that I worked with him, I was like, God, what's he going to butt in and want to change? He pulls me over, he's like, Kev, come here. And I'm like, what? And he's like, we got a reflection in the mirror over there. And I'm like, oh my God, he's actually aiding in this thing coming together. This is perfect.
And I think the very first Cinemassacre fan, or the very first AVGN fan, was Mike Matei. I reject outright this notion that it's not Mike's show and that Mike was just there to help and all this shit. He's a co-creator.
You need like a media plan to have Mike exit, you know, because at that point you can't just be like, oh, he's not here. Okay. And I don't think Screenwave was up to the task of having a media plan.
It didn't even really end up being true because he still helps even to today. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not much into like getting into the weeds of making a conspiracy out of like how two guys run a show about video games in their 40s. But I do kind of take the point the way, and you imitated it great. You're fantastic when you do your imitations, Frankie. When you were like, when James is just like, yeah, Mike's going to be leaving. Good luck, Mike. I know what people were thinking. And tell me if this is what you thought. It sounded like the polite way to fire somebody and not upset the public, right? And that's kind of what people were thinking.
Or Mike rage quit. Like maybe, you know, because there was, Screenwave had been around for a couple of years by that point, and Mike's role had been diminishing. There were some really strange videos. Here's one that nobody ever talks about. And in Cinemassacre's 20 years, there's actually a lot of really interesting, like, oh yeah, I remember that fucking thing, you know? Overanalyzers, thank you. The girl's got like a Russian accent for some reason.
Overanalyzers was good.
Anyway, Slob Wave era. There were some really weird videos. People always bring up the VR, like the meta glasses or whatever it was, the Oculus. But the one that I remember was like, are you excited to get a PS4 or an Xbox One? Or was it PS5? And do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. They invited in, I think it was around like Too Many Games or whatever their convention is. They just had a bunch of YouTubers in town and they're like, we should film a video for Cinemassacre even though James isn't going to be in it.
And I think Mike was in that, and he was like, I don't really give a fuck which one it is. And you could just kind of tell Mike is not really jiving with the new thing that's happening here. And so when very suddenly it was like, I'm really struggling with COVID and Mike's gone, you know, I was like, whoa, what's going on? It's a massacre.
Maybe I need to revisit the one where Mike like audits Justin's Gengar collection. Is there some weird stuff in that?
Fellas, I don't know what a slob is. Was that supposed to mean something?
It's the people who
give you the whole lore
for Screenwave. You know, did you ever watch rental reviews as an example?
Yeah, but they said slob, or y'all coined it slob.
Well. It started on Reddit. From my perspective, it's now a reserved term. It's not. I think it's just like it's just what you call that era of people. It's a rude thing to call people a slob, but we have editors at Redcount. We call them slobs because.
No, I know. I'm in your community. Y'all say it with a positive twist somehow.
We took the term back.
I'm taking it back. You watch.
You're like, what are you calling them? A slob?
It's beautiful slobs.
I use it more as like as an action. Like I'm slobbing. That's the tough one to describe.
You're like, you're slobbing?
Yeah, exactly.
Mike seemed to want to get James's opinion of the AVGN movie. Like that's another one of those kind of sore spots where like they don't really talk about it that often. It wasn't really that well received. But on the other hand, it's now been 12 years since it came out. So there's kind of like a question of like, so what does James think of it? And Mike posed that question. And his answer was something like, I'm just shocked that we pulled it off. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was, big effects every moment. And he actually said, he was like, I kind of wish that like we had shown the strings on the models. Like I wish maybe we had leaned into the crappy factor a little bit more. I wish that too, by the way. I think the green screen falls apart for me in a lot of areas.
I from memory, I liked his description of it, of what he said about what it was for its budget, because it was like a big action spectacle for its budget. Do you actually think it's, for James, it's like a sore spot to where people know not to bring up his only feature film around him? Because that would be the one thing that I'm willing to entertain, for the fact that he doesn't speak on it often. You know, like when I say, like, hey, don't bully James Rolfe on the internet, people are like, he's too much of a professional to even know they're bullying him. He don't go on the internet. And I'm like, well, why doesn't he ever talk about his only feature film anymore?
One theory that has nothing to do with critical reception might be that the thing actually did cause him some long-term trauma. Like, I actually think that's a foregone conclusion.
I don't think even what you're saying is true, though. He wrote half a book about his experiences making the movie. He spoke about it a lot there. And what he said in this recent Mike podcast interview echoes pretty much what he wrote in the book exactly.
Yeah, I'm referring to the fact that there hasn't been a lot of like casual mention of it in commentary online. I know he spoke on it in the book, but also to Frankie's point on that, all I remember, and I only went through the book once, but all I remember is the mostly like traumatizing aspects of that production.
It was trauma.
Hey, listen, rerouting traumatized me for life. I'm not going to front.
Well, on that note, Kev, have you ever been in the middle of one of your 3 feature films before 30? In 2 weeks, you'll now be after 30.
Yeah.
You have to start the fresh decade.
Damn it.
Why, God, why? Have you ever been like, I don't know, several months out or a year out from finishing the film, and you're like, I want to get out of this thing? Because that's what happened to him. I think he was actually 2 years out from post-production. Like, he was just stuck in a post-production hell for 2 years. And I think he was like, he said it in the book. He was like, it was a dream that overstayed its welcome. I don't want to be making this anymore.
Yeah, my first feature when I was a kid, the first one I attempted that fell apart. I actually just bow out of it. Like, I saw that I got in over my head. Second feature, that went too quickly. I mean, I threatened to beat up my line producer and everything. You know, he threatened to beat me up too, and that was fun. But we got through that quickly. The latest one I just did, yeah, there were times where I'm like, oh my God, if there was a way out, I'd take it. But there's not. I'm stuck with it.
Isn't it interesting when you get into another movie, you forget? It's kind of like
pregnancy. It's like you use like pregnancy or an acid trip or things that you say, I'll never do that again, and you're surprised that the desire to come back and do it again actually comes back around, and you forget. I don't know if you said anything like this in your book about filmmaking. Go get his book on filmmaking. It's fantastic. I listened to the whole thing. You ever feel like if we start features again, I start another feature, you start another feature, there's an aspect of like, oh my God, I almost like don't have the confidence of someone that's done this 5 times, but I've done it 5 fucking times because every time's a new overwhelming adventure.
Yeah, you're back at the bottom of the mountain for some reason. Yeah, it's so true.
Dying and being born all over again.
Or I like when I start up another production or something, I'm like, oh, where's everybody gonna park and where's everybody gonna shit? I'm like, I forgot about this part of the movie. Like this is like 90% of making a movie is just figuring out where to park. Then there's like a little bit of time to shoot something, and then you go home.
Yeah. Let me ask real quick, to what extent can any of us ever get past the quality of that flick and put James in more of a category of like a YouTube era modern Ed Wood, Rudy Ray Moore, for the fact that movie's as big of a spectacle as it is, and he got it accomplished, even though it's not that great, the spirit of it says something, like you actually did that? Or is he too high profile and had too much money thrown at him for anybody to give it that respect?
I think it's an impressive film. I think it looks good. Even like the dumb green screen, I don't think looks terrible.
Like, it doesn't play that well story-wise, but it's impressive that a dude did it.
I like the kaiju. I like the miniatures. I like that you're in, where that Star Trek fight took place. I like the puppet. There's definitely like visual aspects from, I like the premise. I've said that many times. I think the Atari landfill premise is right for the, at the time the E.T. game was the worst one. I think that the whole like E.T. copyright thing undermines it a bit. For me, like Mandy and the military guy and Cooper, all the fucking other characters is what makes it not easy for me to watch it again.
I revisited the classic Cinemassacre Truth meme where they cut him talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 to him talking about the AVGN movie, and that it fits perfect, like the criticisms he had about TMNT 3 just like inventing new stuff out of thin air. Yeah.
I love any film that shows like this, the screenwriter doesn't know much about women, he just imagines what they're like aside from like the one woman he's been with, because I'm thinking like, what hot corporate chick is like, I'm a hot corporate chick that's gonna go undercover as a nerd and I'm gonna pull it off. That's some real niche internet gaming shit, but it was still cute. I mean, she was hot.
There's slightly weird gender sex stuff in that movie, like I'm not wearing any panties.
Who did she say that to?
The military woman said it.
When they're gonna have the cat fight. Oh wait, no, that's not what she says. When does she say it?
All right, honey, don't get your panties in a wad.
I'm not wearing any panties. Hot.
It's strange.
A little bit of it is strange, but like also there's another aspect just for me personally. Like, dude, I love watching James do his thing. You got a favorite terrible Stallone movie that you notice Stallone is really good in? Mine's Bullet to the Head. He's incredible in it, but that movie sucks.
You know what I am? A problem solver. I take out the trash. I remove those hard to get at stains. I'm a people person.
I like just watching James do his thing. I think stress, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Frankie. I don't know like how if you've done more than a cameo acting performance. I might not have seen the movies where you did more than a cameo yourself. I often think stress on the director / star, at least when the camera's rolling, that stress shows his like competence. So I totally believe him in that movie and like nothing else.
Well, here's a question for you. Jason did a video a couple years ago, a really great video that got struck down by copyright from Screenwave.
They got him.
Where he was like, I'm going to review 3 YouTube movies. And he did Happy Console Gamer, he did Game Chasers movie, God Rest Billy's Soul, and he did the AVGN movie. And of the 3, he rated the AVGN movie the highest. He was like, yeah, not everything works about it, but it's a movie. And it's got, like he gave it more of its due than like people normally are willing to. And it made me wonder, what if the movie, instead of being a $300,000 I'm trying to be a real movie, what if it had been like more like the Happy Console Gamer movie? What if it had been more at home and people are dressing up as fucking the Cowardly Lion and the effects are Final Cut 7 effects?
James wouldn't be nearly as proud of it as he is, which I think is all that matters.
I also have a similar sort of take where I say, what if that had just been the AVGN episode of the month? It would be the greatest episode ever, potentially. You're like, oh, shit,
sure,
look at this episode. Yeah. But it might be about, it's sort of like I'm a funny guy and I make women laugh, but if I go do stand-up and I tell you if you come to see me, you're going to laugh, you're probably not going to laugh. You're going to find out I'm not that funny. So maybe it's that experience of like, get your woman, she gets dressed up, you put money in your pocket, you put gas in your car, and you're going to the theater for the James Rolfe movie experience now, and it's not as good.
My friend Liam, who we met on this podcast, he puts out a boutique Blu-ray label called Refuse Films. He re-releases trauma movies, all kinds of cool stuff. He did Cannibal the Musical. And he made 2 movies, My Bloody Banjo and Eating Miss Campbell. The movies are fun. They're fun trauma movies. But he also made behind-the-scenes documentaries. And in the UK, wherever he is in the UK, he was able to put some bucks together. I think the first movie was $20,000. The second movie was like $50,000, $60,000, something like that. So there's like real money. And it came with producer, kind of like your movies, Kev. Like it came with real people that were attached that he clashed with. And this is all on camera. And he puts it all on the Blu-ray. And it is edge of your seat shit to watch him have to deal with these like asshole British dudes in both cases. And I bring that up here because in the book, James said that there was like a really, really troublesome person on the production that they were all struggling with. Like, when do we boot him? How do we boot him? What do we do? And I was just like, you needed Kev there. Kev would have taken care of it.
Can I tell you something really funny? Like, aside from like my internet persona and the muscles and the tattoos and the bullshit, I'm absolutely not a confrontational person. That's why I don't have a record. I do not have a short fuse where I'm going to do something stupid and irresponsible or illegal.
Well, what if somebody's fucking with your movie?
Yo, I'm going to tell you something. It's almost spiritual. That is the only time you actually get me to that point. I do everything to avoid like face-to-face, potentially physical confrontation. The only time I do it without even thinking about it is you're about to take my dream away from me. Everybody's here. Everything is working. Everything's going completely as planned. Somebody in charge that put in money somehow is fucking with it for their own personal gain somehow. And I, without thinking, how about I fucking kill everybody? I'm like, what are you talking about? How about we go?
It's so unethical by that point. And it sounds like James dealt with this guy for like 2 weeks or something.
But you know what sucks too is I don't know what the deal was with this fellow that he's referring to, but I'll tell you something else. Rerouting was the first time that I learned that like I went at it with my line producer heavy, and I fought with him and he fought back. It was so cool to see that by the end of it all, everybody just shook hands, and Dan, my other director, is like, that's making a movie. He knows I've screamed at him at other movies. He's been on my line producer on other movies. I love it when it's that sort of thing where everybody realizes tensions run high. But on the investment end, any attempt to be like, look at these kids like doing their best and they're pulling it off, let's throw a screw in their operation for no reason. I get immediately confrontational because I'm fighting for something in real time. If you fuck with this production and it can't get finished, I'm done for.
Can you imagine if James said that to someone? He was like, what the fuck?
They're fucking with my production.
Shitty producers.
I wonder who it was, because he just said, he didn't even say what, like, the part of the production that the gentleman worked in, did he? He was just
Oh,
like, this
yeah, did he?
person.
I don't, it's been a couple of
Well,
years.
hiring aimless fucking California crew will do it, man. They're just, especially if you get somebody who's like good for the job, but they're not invested in the project, and they bring that kind of energy. That does suck the life out of you, and that sucks.
He did say that the guy was able to hold a hostage, like some of their props and stuff. So maybe it's something to do with that.
Yeah, like a prop master or something. Yeah. This is why you're on the show. You remember some things that we don't. So let's keep going through some of the topics here. Mike leaving. Mike said something. He was like, well, regardless of what anybody thinks of the movie, which is kind of like saying people don't really like this movie. He goes, I really like that you predicted that these companies were going to start selling shitty games as a novelty. You kind of predicted that. And I was like, I guess that's a way of seeing things.
They're going to make bad games on purpose. That has happened quite a bunch since then. There's like the Shaq stuff, like there's new Bubsy games and everything. They're re-releasing like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and all this stuff. So literally these things that were nerd episodes are like getting re-releases and new versions and stuff, and I'm like, that's what the movie was like warning of.
I'm unaware of how factually true that is. I know that there's the trend to watch people play video games, but maybe Jason, do you know more than anybody? Did that actually spark like the market for like, oh, I bet this is shitty because AVGN is popping?
I don't think people are intentionally making bad games to somehow sell better.
I'm talking about the interest in like repurposed bad games.
Well, he definitely did make a lot of stuff more, like, I mean, he created like the whole retro game scene on the internet, which in turn made everything more popular, including the bad stuff. Like, I'm wearing an Atari Jaguar shirt. Without the Angry Video Game Nerd, do you think there would have been an Atari Jaguar shirt I could have bought? Probably not.
Yeah, you're right. And without the Angry Video Game Nerd, I probably wouldn't think that shirt is awesome, but I've been looking at it the whole stream like, that's fucking awesome. And that console has like no game. But I want one. I want one, though, because I watch James.
We found out that Mike's first editing job for Cinemassacre was, I think, the Godzilla-thon, the second year of Monster Madness. That's when he was like, I'm going to jump in and try to edit.
Because James is like, oh, I would like to do like Godzilla, but I don't have the time for it.
Mike's like, I can help with time. I have lots of it. Thank God for Mike having the time to, because it's true. It's like James was ready to call it quits on AVGN after episode 1. He's like, well, I don't even know if I consider that a film.
But that's not to be interpreted literally now.
No, it is literal. James was not interested in making this a thing.
Not because he was exhausted of it. It seems like he just didn't know that was going to hit.
He may have been.
Yeah.
You can't be exhausted after one video.
Well, he just thought after Jekyll and Hyde, like, what else do you do? I don't know. I was on camera. That was it. There's nowhere else to take the joke.
Mike pointed out, he's like, back then you didn't know that it's not ideal to upload one video per day on YouTube. You need time to percolate, time for people to discover it, share it. Monster Madness was like not made for YouTube, but it did drive all that website traffic. And he talked about like, that's one of the things we're most proud of is Monster Madness. Like I say, fair enough. I don't know what it is. I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing that he's decided to do this with his platform.
Yeah, because like when I discovered AVGN and Cinemassacre, like I binged like a lot of the content. In some ways, I was probably already burnt out on that concept when I binged it and got through everything. He was really prolific in that beginning years.
Yeah, they were making hay while the sun was shining.
Yeah, same with Doug Walker. That whole mentality was pretty amazing. So it's like you had a lot of stuff to watch, actually. And then when Monster Madness shows up, you're like, oh, wait, what are you doing here? Like, this is actually, you're revolutionizing things in a different way with these movie reviews.
Yeah, like Who Does goes from like Super Nintendo games to giving you a history lesson on black and white horror movies. Secondly, you guys know how much of a player in that game he is, and in the world of trying to maintain the like reputation for the classics, and the community is what you'd call monster kids. And the monster kid community is everything that ranges from like geeks that can't get enough 1931 Dracula, and film school kids will always honor those early classics, all the way up to the people in the industry that want to maintain that. Like, he was huge on a message board that I was in when I was like a kid. Don't ask why. I was like a kid in a classic monster movie message board. Everybody from Rick Baker, the famous Academy Award winning monster movie makeup guy, he's in there. He knew James, the last director to ever pair together Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. He passed away recently. That was Ted Newsom. He was in there. Like, so many industry cats were in there. So he is people of that era of the industry, they know him, those that are still with us.
They know James.
For the Monster Madness type stuff.
For like reigniting interest in that side of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, why do you think when he does, I'm going to like compare every Dracula book, like those get pretty decent numbers for what that is, and deviating away from video games. That's a whole separate community that's got their eye on him.
It's the only reason I know anything at all about that whole world. I watched a lot of movies over the years, especially when I was like a teenager, because of James Rolfe and like the Monster Madness ones. Like I watched the whole like Universal, Halloween lineup just because he talked about them once, basically.
Yeah, you probably never would have really gotten into it otherwise, right?
No, not at all. I wouldn't have even known what a Frankenstein was. So.
Yeah, or Hammer Dracula.
Wait, even with how present in the culture Frankenstein is?
Well, I embellish a little, but I might not know that it's the doctor, not the monster. I wouldn't know that.
No, right. You wouldn't have gotten the history lesson on like what's just aimlessly in the background of the culture every Halloween.
Yeah.
I'll say real quick, James was the perfect guy for me to watch because I don't know how many people could relate to this, but since I was a kid, and I'm born in '96, so my early childhood is the early 2000s. Since a kid, when I was just getting a grasp of everything, I was like, I want to experience what a video game is like classically supposed to be, which looked like the Nintendo. I've always heard about Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Mummy, which is like what a horror movie's traditionally supposed to be, even though that's not what horror is now. I want to see those. I just wanted to know like where everything started. I remember asking my parents, I'm like, so you guys had PlayStation when you were kids, or they made them back then and shit like that? So you find James and he's like, here's a brief history on all of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. In many ways, some people make fun of him now. They're like, this is like Wikipedia in a video. It's like, well, back then we kind of needed Wikipedia in a video. It was sort of helpful.
Wikipedia was a lot different. Like, you might not have even gotten the same stuff on Wikipedia back then, because I remember finding the internet and that you could like search games on the internet. Like the Mario 3 Wikipedia page was like a paragraph, and like most games didn't have Wikipedia pages. It wasn't like today where every game is like an essay.
I used to love the episodes that were a little bit documentary-ish. Even Atari Porn like opens up with like a little bit of like a history lesson on why these games exist. The overviews of an entire now that's your thing now, Jason, is overviews of entire consoles. But the first time I ever saw it was Sega CD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He kind of invented that, didn't he?
Yeah, and by the way, Jason is like famous, right?
Pretty much.
No.
He's the next AVGN.
No, he is.
Not
He's
at
more
all.
famous than us, right?
No.
Oh, okay, well, I thought I might have got him confused with someone.
It depends on, well, as you said, everything is so fractionalized. And it's like, to some people, yes. To the people watching this video, no.
Mike also made an attempt to address the who does what, but specifically as it relates to gameplay footage. So the accusation typically is that Mike will stream a video, he'll stream a game, and all the gameplay footage will be donated to the AVGN, who will kind of wrap it up in a lazy script, and he'll pump out a video. And admittedly, sometimes it does kind of look that way.
Yeah.
The claim here is that, yes, he does donate some footage, and then he'll point out to James, you need to go do this part of the game. You might find this part funny.
Yeah.
It sort of gives like James a leg up.
People get confused a lot. Like some people are like, oh, Mike recorded the footage for this and all that. Sometimes I will record footage, but James also records footage. So the episodes a lot of times are like a mishmash of some footage is mine, some footage is James or whatever. But you're always playing the games.
This almost sounds ridiculous if you just listen to it, that they need like 3 or 4 people to play through the same game. But as somebody who like reviews games all the time, it's actually really helpful. That sounds really helpful to have 4 playthroughs of the same game, because not the same stuff happens every time. Like, and there are times where this happens almost every time I review a game, where I need to go back in and I need to manufacture some footage to demonstrate what I'm talking about.
Or you forget to laugh, maybe, What
do you mean I forget to laugh?
Well, he was saying, like, you could imagine a situation where Mike finds something really funny and James glosses over it. And Mike's like, no, that's funny. And then, like, he goes back to it.
Yeah, and then just, like, he just highlights, like, what could be funny. I mean, just more from a footage perspective. You get the footage and then you write the review, and then you find that like it doesn't always just match up exactly what you're saying. So like if you have a slob like kind of tailing behind you, or if James is the slob tailing behind even, then it helps to already have a vision for the video and then play the game again, is what I'm trying to say. So like multiple people playing through the game, actually, like this sounds like it would be helpful, especially in a game like Final Fantasy. Like I totally get that. Like James might have finished it first, and then like having Mike and Sean, come trail behind.
And when you're playing on original hardware, you're not save stating. You can't jump back to where you want.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's another part of it too. Is it's like you're kind of just stuck with the footage because you can't put yourself in that moment in the game again.
And like James named all the characters after his kids or whatever, and he was like, I guess I can't use this footage. So Mike, please help.
Jason, have you ever been totally stuck where you're like, I really need this footage, but to do it, I need to like replay a lot of the game?
Yeah, I've done that. Well, I mean, at certain points, it's like you either just like are inexact in your editing and you just kind of like put whatever there, or you'd go to like a long play and see if they have it, or sometimes you gotta redo a chunk of the game.
Yeah, if it's a cutscene or something and there's no, like, your gameplay wouldn't impact it in any way, maybe you can steal it.
Yeah, exactly. If in situations like that, then it's fine. But it's, I mean, that happens all the time where I need to replay some chunk of game. I was just doing it right before we hopped on. I hooked up my NES for literally like a 3-second clip that I needed in a video, just because I didn't go in the correct menu that I reference, or at least I didn't want to scrub through my footage to find it if I did.
You realize that while you're trying to edit.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, well, I need footage of that menu.
Yeah,
shit.
It happens all. Yeah, I do my like top 10 lists, and I'll be like, you write the script thinking that you have that footage, and you're just like, oh yeah.
I was rewatching the EJ Game Boy video not long ago, and I was like, this is really good. He should make more of these.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, a no set schedule. Let the ads play.
Yeah, you know something? My hat goes off to anybody that's actually like authentically recording their entire gameplay experience and then going back to find those moments. I mean, I suppose you could pause, take 2 seconds, and time code it. But like on top of that, I don't even know what chord to use. Like I found that I have this thing and it's not supported by Mac, so I tried that. I've never screen recorded games.
I'm spoiled now with when I'm going through tons of clips trying to find stuff. Now that there's the auto transcription in Premiere and I can just like do a Control F for anything.
Oh man!
In a retro video game, there's no such reference.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm playing a game that has like voices, that it saves so much editing time. Like when I was doing Zelda CDI, being able to find any cutscene I want just by searching for it was so fucking good. I loved that so much.
My daughter loved having Jason as a guest because their YouTube tastes don't diverge completely.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little closer.
We were all enjoying. There was a voice actress who was reviewing bad voice acting in video games, and we were all having a good old time watching it. Let's get into a little bit of the kind of hot button stuff here. Who did they mention and who did they not mention?
Oh, come on.
So he did not mention Bootsy.
Nothing but good memories.
Oh, yeah, no, he's around. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. Always had nothing but good memories with him.
I think Bootsy's fine. I enjoyed a video or two with Bootsy, Bored James, whatever. I think it was you, Jason. Somebody made the point. They were like, listen, Bootsy is not all that consequential to the history of Cinemassacre.
He's not. Well, the way I said it was you can tell the story of Cinemassacre without Bootsy. You can.
Although he technically was there from, according to the book, he was there from the top.
Well, there are videos of like Bootsy in college, with Mike and James. Like that's how they know him.
I give you the Brandon, the Kastner, motherfucking spanking PI.
Now Kyle, on the other hand, cannot tell the story of AVGN.
Exactly.
And Kyle was not mentioned, right?
No.
Not once. Something happened with Kyle, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately. Probably there's some drama.
I don't, Bootsy has said so, and it was openly about Mike and about payment. But Kyle, I don't know what's going on. But I know they play his little ditty every, Never
with lyrics.
I mean, he was a lot more than that. Like, as revealed in the book, like, he introduced James to his wife.
He said, would you like to see somebody who got a body on her?
Yeah, Mrs. Nerd got a body on her. Lord forgive me for saying that to this day, but that's really how I feel.
Whenever...
He's like, I do find her hot. Whatever.
Fuck it.
He was definitely like close with James then. Have you ever listened to like when James went on when he was on the radio with those fucking guys? Did you ever hear that? Yeah. Kyle calls into that. I don't know if you remember that part of that clip.
Kyle's calling here. Kyle, what's up, man?
Hey.
What's
how
up?
You doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good.
He was a part of the crew way back then.
He was a major supporter. And you know what? James himself has said, I'm not very good extemporaneously. So I'm not very good for podcasts. I'm not good off the cuff. I think James and Mike Mondays worked because Mike is pretty good off the cuff. Anytime he's had to riff or improvise with a guest star, so Lloyd Kaufman, Gilbert Gottfried, Macaulay Culkin, it's not really been very good, except with Kyle Justin in the Akari Warriors episode. He's like that.
In more than one. Like the Spider-Man one, too. That's him. That's a great, iconic episode.
Where did the hair go is very funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially now, yeah.
That's the chorus. Yeah. Where did the hair go?
That's good. But they did mention Screenwave. So a couple of key comments that were made. James said this: Cinemassacre would no longer exist due to COVID without Screenwave. That's what he said.
Screenwave did a lot of extra help for us in 2020 during COVID, and I don't think if we had that kind of help, the channel would have continued.
More specifically, Ryan.
Hey.
There must have been some outfit that they signed with between Game Trailers and Screenwave that didn't go well.
So Ryan made Screenwave, and then it's been so much better since because he's a friend.
No, it's so much better to work with a friend than like having to work with some company that's very distant and you have nothing to do with, you know.
But Mike was alluding to it. He was like, well, we've signed with these other companies and it's really shitty. And apparently Mike, that was another thing that he did for the company, was he was very, very comprehensive about making sure that James always retained all rights.
I wanted everything to be in really plain text. Like, you can have all your legalese in there, but I wanted things in there that was plain text, like James and Mike own the channel. James Rolfe owns Angry Video Game Nerd. And it took me a long time to get them to do it. That was not with Screenwave, by the way. That was with a different company.
They might have been with like an MCN in the interim. I'm not really sure.
Right. For the first time, I was like, you know what? That actually makes sense. They were like, it was nice to sign with a friend. Would sign with somebody who had been there since 2008. And they said, like, he was actually the one who got the ads on the website. I always say, I remember seeing a Burger King ad on the website. There must be real money that comes out of that.
Well, thanks, Ryan.
It made me want to get Burger King. And then I watched Monster Madness.
We gotta get a Whopper on the top of the website.
You know, millions of people every month just checking out the website.
So it's just like the web server was just being ass, basically.
Basically, yeah, being
shit.
I guess Ryan is some kind of like power broker. Between, like, he gets things solved with YouTube that they aren't capable of solving. Like when they had copyright strikes and their channel actually went down, and like Ryan was like, "Don't worry about it, I'll fucking fix it."
If you got 3 strikes, they would terminate your channel, and that actually literally happened to us twice. There was 2 times where the channel came down.
Well, it helps to have a generally tech competent guy around, because as we know, that ain't James or Mike.
Those two ain't.
So Mike and Ryan, who does our web design at cinemassacre.com, he worked with Mike to build him a PC computer and to get a FireWire port on it so that they could get the footage off. And then they also tried something with a network. They tried actually sending the footage from the one computer to the Mac over a network, and that didn't work because it was too slow.
Yeah, but hey, it's great to be big enough and to be considered enough by YouTube that when they mistakenly take your channel down, there's actually reps you can call and people you can speak to. James is one of like 2 or 3 creators I watched over the years who was big enough to be acknowledged by YouTube in that respect, because when they took my channel down, and I had actually a decently popular channel when I was like 18. When they took it down, I tried calling, I tried emailing, they were just like your beat. And I think if you're of a certain status and you really have somewhat of an understanding of the legalities of that, so you can like prove your case that the thing does not need to be taken down, you can get it back up.
I would think so, except the way they were presenting it in this video was that the 2 of them couldn't, but Ryan could. That's the way they presented it.
The YouTube award, whatever they call it, and they weren't sending it for a while, but Ryan made sure that they sent it to me.
His company manages more than just Cinemassacre. Like Screenwave is an MCN, and they have an umbrella of a whole bunch of channels under them. Like using those connections, I can imagine.
Shit. So YouTube is like, oh, fuck, it's Screenwave calling?
They represent GameSack. They represent so many people. Yeah.
Well, they represent, just like tons that aren't even like public about it.
I was surprised that, so if you're going to go over the movie and Mike's departure and the gameplay footage, I thought maybe they'd say something about lights on the ceiling or Tough 80s. I thought they'd say something about it. Like, James, do you want to like address the problem with the lights on the ceiling?
I don't think he wants to be that specific.
I'll never understand this. I will hang a light from the ceiling over my head right now. I'd probably have great lighting.
Yeah, of course you can mount a light on the ceiling, obviously. It was that it was a tripod.
That he put a tripod upside down on the ceiling?
Yes.
Even better.
Your Honor, objection.
Oh, Mr. Goodman.
But yeah, especially because Mike put out the Brown Bricks documentary.
Documentary.
You know, it was to me.
It was to me. Not to me.
I thought they were going to go through all of it, EJ. I thought they were going to like clear the air on everything. Every single Cinemassacre truth meme is Sly aware. They were just going to finally address all of it. Like, really get some.
Nah, how much of it do you think he's aware of? Because that Cinemassacre truth stuff gets wild.
The Screenwave guys, specifically like Ryan, Justin, according to Kieran, they were like obsessing over it, refreshing it every day, reading it out loud.
And I hated reading all these like mean things written about me or whatever. But Justin would just Would just send them to me. Sorry.
Which is, of course, not what you do when you're in that situation. You have to be like James.
Cut it out.
My guess is that they probably didn't torment James himself with it. No. But I've heard that, like, yes, he knows it exists. Yes, he's not happy about it. Something like that.
I think he only knows it in broad strokes and probably doesn't investigate further.
Do you know why they call him Big Ryan, Kev? It's not because of his weight.
It has nothing to do with him actually being big.
Some guy was like, hey, you ought to have Ryan on more often. Big Ryan fan, by the way. And so from that point on, everybody just calls him Big Ryan.
In like the very early days of like Cinemassacre Truth catching on, this was like when the quote Slavs started appearing on camera, and it was just like obvious sock puppets there to try and like steer the discourse away from calling them Slavs. So, and one of them was just like, yeah, Big Ryan fan here.
I thought maybe they'd say a thing or two about recording to DVD. Was that the best way to capture game footage in 2006?
Probably, yes. I guarantee it was, actually, yeah.
Yeah, maybe of a certain quality, yeah, maybe.
So the only criticism really is why did you do it until...
He stuck with it way too long. Yeah, to the point where you're needing to record him on 26 discs or however many discs it was. Like, that's... Come on, James. We've held on to that for a little long.
It was one of his ways of measuring the productivity of a project, was how many DVDs it took. Mike said something like...
James has to be passionate about it or it's not gonna, like, work.
True.
I agree.
That's one of the rubs of more modern episodes.
In James's defense, this has gotten a lot better in recent years. Like, 2023 on, I would say he's been much more passionate about the stuff they've been doing AVGNs on. There's no more pack and ship, he doesn't even know what this is episodes. There's been a lot less of that.
Most of the Cinemassacre content is serviceable now. Not all of it's my cup of tea, and some of it is still phoned in and whatever, but I think like it's more or less back on its 2 feet.
And it seems like James is actually chasing things that he's actually interested for more of the videos.
I think the trope of James does nothing, everybody else does stuff, I think that's been way less true than it was in 2020 and 2021.
Well, they talk a lot about Final Fantasy in this one. I remember when that episode came out, that accusation was coming all over. Like, as I was always defending him on this, that when that episode came out, everybody, at least in our orbit, was shouting, James didn't play this, there's no way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I have proof. I know for a fact James has like a long-standing connection with this game, and it's because he used the music in the Snicks flicks. He used Final Fantasy 3/6 music in the Snicks flicks. That means that he knew about it way back then. That means that I believe him when he is actually passionate about Final Fantasy.
I feel that even when I'm reviewing video games, sometimes I'm playing a game, I hit pause, I write exactly what I'm feeling in the moment that the game frustrates me, and I look at it and I go, yo, people are actually going to think I'm trying to be an angry video game nerd parody, but I'm not. This is my natural response to working out something that doesn't make sense in a game.
Honestly, fuck Crash Bandicoot. It's just one bullshit level after the next. Answer me this now, that I made it through that fucking last one. Is it me? Or do I not have any fucking ammo to shoot at these ships?
And I feel that I can see that in when he played something and the humor comes off naturally, because one of the funniest things is just the way he articulates how bizarre or fucked up a game is. And you could tell that came from a genuine place. Some of the latest stuff, not that I feel like he should be like crucified for it, but like some of the latest stuff, you know, here and there, like you said, it's not bad recently. It feels like more like he's acting out a response to something. Some of those tangents he would go on, much like I feel like tangents I'll go on a game that I played, you know, when I get to play them and review them, it seems like it came from an authentic place of frustration, because like a NES game will take you to that point.
He's been doing a lot of like, let me review a good game for once. And
I'm going to review a good game for once. Yeah, now this time I'm giving myself a break, and I'm going back to one of my favorite video game franchises. It's actually a pretty good game. I wish to play a good game. With the holiday season, I thought I'd give myself a little bit of a gift. Usually, I take you back to the past, but this time, I'm gonna play a new game. Yeah!
That's not a great formula for comedy, although it can be. I mean, like, you could love the TMNT video game, and that episode is still really funny, because you can just walk over it. I think is the number one joke of all of AVG for me.
We can just walk over it? You can just walk over it.
The most absurd fucking thing is that you can walk over that gap.
You are scum.
Isn't the greatest inception for comedy in any respect the relatability of something that universally frustrates us? Like something as simple.
Absolutely. And giving voice to it. Like that's a big piece of it. It's like George Carlin used to say, here's a bunch of things you forgot to laugh at. Yeah, it's the first ever observational comedy about video games. Mike talks about YouTube creative freedom a lot, that they felt very free to do whatever they want on the platform and be inventive. That all makes sense. They talk about that brand deals keep them afloat. They didn't talk about like, why not just do a Patreon? I really think Patreon fits these guys. But so according to Justin, James doesn't want to do it because then he'd have to produce perks. And I'm like, well, just slob that out, you know?
He says something about like Ryan and his company, you know, helped get the channel monetized. I think he means like brand deals. I think that's what he means. He doesn't mean like literally the YouTube monetization, which is helpful. You know, I slob out finding brand deals. I don't do that myself. Because what I've found, honestly, like just in my experience, is like they ask for way more money and sometimes they get it. So like, okay, you know what? You guys can do that.
They were talking about the 1 million subscriber plaque that went to Mike because he created the channel.
I made the channel, but James is the nerd, so I'm like, James should have this thing. This isn't, you know, I might help out, but it's like James is the nerd. He should have the plaque. So that's just like another like little thing. Ryan's always been helping us out.
Hilariously Rolfian that they would make a big stew out about this, because the obvious thing is just send it to Mike and then Mike gives it to James, who was so worried about it. I don't know why Ryan had to be involved.
They were worried about traffic.
The first few times that I spent money on Cinemassacre was DVDs. I imagine that those DVD sales through ScrewAttack probably did a lot financially for that company at that time. And I bought the app, the Cinemassacre mobile app for $1.
Oh, right.
What?
Yeah, I did. For a
What
buck.
was on it? What was the point?
The fucking website. But back then you would download an app for a website. And back then a lot of the content was on the website. So it kind of made it was like, like downloading YouTube, you know? We talked earlier about them getting struck down. I didn't realize that the channel got like taken down multiple times.
By multiple, though, I think they really only mean like 2 or 3 times, not like 7, right? Like EJ was saying, back in those days, like when my channel went down, like YouTube would constantly update its copyright and nobody would get informed that they were getting updated.
Right.
So like prepare your content. Maybe there'd be something that you would want to private or take down. This no longer meets our new standards that are being reinvented constantly. It's almost like whatever AI was around at that time that detected videos that had copyright, anything that was previously acceptable would just go down. And even that could include something like Cinemassacre. And I think that's what happened a couple of times.
What's interesting back then, though, is that wasn't how they made money. They made money on game trailers and on the website. So it was just an advertising vehicle for them. So they weren't like losing income. They were just losing like a source of advertising when their channel went down. So it wasn't just like, you know, everything was gone.
Yeah, they were like producing stuff for Spike TV shorts or something, and they were doing a bunch of stuff.
I actually forgot that they used Blip TV. Obviously Channel Awesome did. Obviously Confused
Everyone
Matthew did. But I forgot that Cinemassacre did.
Red Letter Media did.
They would for the stuff that was on their website, but like Game Trailers had their own player. They didn't rely on Blip, so there was like their own.
So the Cinemassacre.com had.
Yeah, Cinemassacre.com was had the Blip.
Mike said something really funny that I don't want to skip over too fast. He goes, I was really worried that like the channel would get stolen. Like I had heard that happened to Laurel and Hardy, and I didn't want that to happen to us.
Remember, like Laurel and Hardy had a lot of money taken from them back in the day, and everything was taken away.
Or that happened to Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck back in the day.
Like the fucking Three Stooges, Curly and Moe, that fucking happened to them. I Love Lucy. It got stolen out from Ricky Ricardo, and it's like, fuck that shit.
it's like, of course it would be that like old of a reference.
He's like, I gotta go way back for this reference. Fatty Arbuckle. Like, I don't want to be like him.
It's so Mike. It's great.
Okay, let's talk about some of the channel memories that they brought up here. Turtle Tuesday. One of my favorite eras of Cinemassacre was Turtle Tuesday. Kev, do you remember when that was coming out? Were you?
Yeah, I watched all the Turtle content. Ninja Turtles is something I love to watch people talk about, even though I don't watch it. It's just a nice like reminder of like a nostalgic show that was big at a time where it's like, oh, it'd be cool if I grew up in those times.
Us 30-year-olds have a much different relationship with Turtles than you guys do.
Yeah, well, it's also one of those things that's like, it's timeless, right? So which incarnation of Ninja Turtles did you even grow up with, right? It was always around. It just depends.
Well, for me, it was the same cartoon show that James loved. In more modern YouTube, one of the best ways that you can try to attract new audience is with some kind of like novel stunt. Like I did a thing for a month, or whatever. And this was an early version of that, which was, no, we watched the whole because everybody loves and remembers Ninja Turtles, but nobody watched the whole fucking show.
Exactly. Didn't they keep making that show for like 10 seasons? So it's like nobody knows what's hiding in like seasons 3 and up.
Yeah, there's some late seasons where they call it the Red Sky seasons because suddenly they started animating the Red Sky. And in the intro, the theme song, they started intercutting it with live action footage from the movies. It was like very like late stage Ninja Turtles. They cut to this clip from a Turtle Tuesday where James heard in the crocodile there say possum pussy.
And I'm gonna get my revenge on you little possum pussies.
What?
And I was like, that is so funny. And it's so that era of Cinemassacre. Like, what did he say? Possum pussy?
Possum pussies.
Possum
pussies.
Possum pussies. He says it. I didn't know you could say pussy in a cartoon.
I love the idea, but they were talking about shooting on a Bolex, a 16 millimeter black and white reversal film, man. And they were like, we should just shoot an AVGN on a Bolex. I was like, fuck yes, do that.
Do it. It would be awesome.
Anyway, let's not get into Bolex right now. It's a piece of shit.
One of the most genius videos they ever made. I don't know that it's all that entertaining of a video, but boy, is it a good idea for a video. Let's take all the disgusting pizzas that Michelangelo described. And make them and eat them and throw up or whatever. It's kind of before epic mealtime, you know?
Yeah, that's a very like modern YouTube idea they were doing way back then. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what I'm saying.
It's my Snickers ribs.
When they were both collecting old 16 millimeter reels, like old Uncle Scrooge cartoons and stuff.
I watched that one today. It's kind of just them going like, film was different and it's loud and you gotta spool it, and sometimes the film will abruptly change into a different cartoon while you're watching it, and they're just like saying shit like that.
Yeah, that was abrupt. Yeah, the whole ending is chopped off there. You don't get to see the final gag.
I still think even though James is a little bit awkward, in this particular video, he does what we might call the grandpa smile and the nod. There's a lot of like, oh yes. But I still think like putting him next to high energy Mike. And I also did think, generally speaking, James was more engaged, more energetic in this conversation. There's just so much to talk about. Yeah. But I think you put those two together and you give them something to talk about. I normally find that entertaining. They used to do a lot of top 10s, top 10 Jackie Chan moments, top 10 head explosions. And the top 10 started getting more ridiculous. And they eventually got to the point where they did the top 10 worst ideas for top 10s, which is very funny. It's like top 10 times that like Tom Cruise said the word there. Or something.
Top 10 movies that aren't as bad as everybody says. That's one of those ones where I was like, this dude is me. Because the first two would come to mind is Rocky 5 and Halloween 3. And I'm like, of course they're in there.
Rocky 5 is not that bad.
It's not bad at all. It's just an average sequel to a franchise that has one average sequel. Not one of those isn't like a spectacle in their own way. And you got one that's just average.
I think like almost all of the movies in that franchise are A+ or A. And Rocky 5 is like B or B- maybe.
Yeah, to have a B- in a series of A+ is an F to a lot of people, but it's not really like horrendous to sit through. And then Halloween 3 always came to mind because like I know I never personally even gave it a chance because I'm like, nope, not doing it because Michael Myers is in it. But I heard if I did, it's a decent flick, but I don't care because I'm young and I need my Michael Myers.
It's a great Halloween, like as in the season, not the franchise movie.
Yeah.
You know, it'll put you in the mood. James describes 2021, which is the year of the short shorts, year of plagiarism, year of AVGN 200, year of all kinds of stuff. Like that was the big one. He describes that as the comeback year where they made tons of videos. And actually that would have been the year he said that they went full fucking force. So maybe, I guess that's consistent.
2021 was like the comeback year after COVID.
I think that's the lowest year for Cinemassacre by far, 2021.
Well, if you got to think in terms of revenue, it's like with the amount of brand deals and videos that they were putting out, that's probably the most money he ever made in his whole career.
But it was a gross period of time for that.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the time that damaged his PR the most.
And now Yui Bowl can't touch him. Did you see the tweet from from Yui Bowl? It was like, if you watch AVGN, you're part of the problem.
The problem of what?
He doesn't expound.
He doesn't explain. During that period of time, I was driving for Amazon, and when Screenwave was like in their once I had grasped that this is like the Screenwave era of Cinemassacre, I remember for something that was once great that now became average, and for someone that doesn't read Reddit, that's all it was to me. It's like everything that's great, if it runs long enough, eventually becomes average. So for like a very meek job, I'd put on a very like meek selection of content, and I'm like, okay, I guess this is what they do now. It's not like
It's about on my wavelength.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not out of this world, but like it fits what I'm doing at this particular moment. So I'm like, all right.
Look, I like my video game slop sometimes. My Metal Jesus, my Sega Lord X, where I'm just like, just name the video games, just say them out loud.
I can finally come.
You have to say all of them, though.
Was that the era of the podcast, by the way, or was it done by 2021?
2021 was the year of the pod. Yeah, I think by the end of it, they were like, fuck this.
If you're more of a fan of like James the person and not like constantly holding him to the current standard of his content, that was cool for like a dude that don't say much about himself to tell stories about when he smoked weed and things of that nature. You're like, oh, like he's like divulging that like he had like a bit of a life other than like nerding out on the internet and said some things that you wouldn't expect or some stories you wouldn't expect. But then the book was later, right? Wasn't that like 2023, 24?
Yeah, like maybe a year or so later.
Yeah, so
that was
even
2022
before the book.
2022.
So it was cool to learn a little bit more about him and nothing else from the rest of the gang there.
I have a question, Kev. Why have you not read Gnome Cave yet?
Because I'm not interested in it.
If you're such a fucking fan.
I'm not interested.
Read his Goosebumps, Kev.
I'm just going to keep it a buck. I am not interested in his written fiction. If it was a movie, I'd watch it. I'm not interested in his written fiction. I mean, when he does things like that, and I don't know if the general perception there was that like most people weren't interested or his core fans were. That's always to me a symptom of the fact that he has had the best luck out of any creator when it came to diversifying his content and being able to do whatever the fuck he wants. So he's going to run off the page with that sometimes and do something like that or do something like Rex Viper because it's always been afforded to him. So that always said to me, like, well, that's a natural evolution there. If I can review video games, review monster movies, review board games, and do all these different things, whereas another content creator would ordinarily have to pick one in particular. I got to do it all. Now I'm just going to keep going. Now I've got a gnome story.
I agree. It's an area that I've been charmed by, which is like, I think it's cool that you can spin different plates. In fact, the times that I've been the least enthused about Cinemassacre was when it was like 95% AVGN just to keep the lights on. Yeah. I'm like, I like it when you're stretching. Yeah. On the other hand, one of the things I've heard people say is like, well, Rex Viper, they're almost sort of offended that he thinks that he should, like, when he's at the bottom of the mountain, when he hasn't really earned his licks as a musician, that he's just like, I'm entitled to an audience or something. It's like, well, but the audience just shows up because he's AVGN, right? But so there's like it seems like there's a little bit of like offense sometimes people take with that stuff. Less so as the author, it seems like. People aren't quite as pissed off.
Yeah, weird. That. Maybe because there's less aspiring authors that are just bitter about not making it.
Yeah, people don't read books. That's
like, I could write it, they wouldn't read it. Mike said, if there was a part of the AVGN movie, like your favorite part, what would it be? And he was like, when Howard Scott Warshaw has that boring monologue over by the fence. I was like, come on. The kaiju is a lot better than that. And like, there's better moments. Or even the car crashing into the boxes, I think is a little bit fun. Not that dumpy man walking up to the fence.
Yeah, I got to watch that again.
The part that probably sticks out the most right now off the top of my head is when I'm out there in the desert with the fans and talking to Howard Scott Warshaw.
Overall, it was 2 hours. I was on a long commute, and I was really enjoying myself.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it gave me warm memories of the past. It's an amazing accomplishment.
The biggest thing that stood out to me about it was it kept making me think of everybody's sort of accusation there that like Mike is the real AVGN, and hearing so much of that made me want to go like, oh, I almost want to admit you guys are right, but I like that Mike had the foresight to know that James is a very particularly attractive kind of on-screen personality, because like who else can really, like, to give the man his full credit just for being who he is, truthfully, who else can be like foul?
That's why I'm coming in front of the camera right now.
And somehow like endearing?
Yeah, there's a soft edge to him. And if John Candy, super likable guy, is acting like a total asshole on screen, you're kind of in on it because he's not really that way. And so, yeah, it really helps the joke a lot. Like, I remember when James used to, on like DVD special features and stuff, he was like, now I just want to make clear, I'm not really like that. I'm not actually mad at these games. And we're like, we know.
I'm not actually shitting with my ass on those.
a lot of times, very often, your experience of him, I think you grasp that ordinarily, and that's why it was the oddest blend. Like, I remember the first time watching him, like my mother, she's like, the fuck are you listening to? You're listening to foul shit. And actually, something I've never said, the very first glimpse I got at James swearing on his episodes, I'm like, to me, this doesn't look like a nerd. This looks like a cocky mid-20-something-year-old prick. Like, this looks like someone I wouldn't want to hang with. Like, almost like people's first perception of me. I'm like, just the way he's, like, swearing through his gap tooth.
Ain't I a fucking stinker, motherfucker?
Ain't you a goddamn fucking piece of shit?
And then he starts educating you on the video games. And there's this weird balance of I'm swearing and being wild, but there's a thoughtfulness in my admiration for, like, retro entertainment. And you're like, that's just bizarre. So Mike, I appreciate his efforts and mostly that he knows that I don't care if Mike's being obscene or endearing. He's just not that fun of a personality or not as multifaceted of a personality and an appeal as James.
Yeah, he's not as attractive of a personality. You could not put that fucking white shirt on him and be like, go ahead, you know. As a matter of fact, the guy, when he was abandoned, when he was home alone, when they were all making the movie, he made some of the most off-putting videos you could possibly make.
I was kind of making fun of the movie the whole way, but I do think there is a really good purpose why he wanted the blanket back. I think it's because the blanket is his cum rag, and he jerks off onto it.
Now I can go home.
Yeah, someone who's genuinely a little bit off-putting versus someone who's playing a character that's off-putting.
I'm so glad we're giving James his flowers as a performer, because that's such an underrated part about what he does, and he's so good at it. If you just think about, like, the millions and millions of people on, like, Channel Awesome or whatever who are trying to do, like, an on-camera shtick where they're angry about stuff.
I call it the Nintendo shit cube. Because it's a piece of fucking shit!
It's a skill you need to be good at, and he's amazing at it. He's the best at it.
Why are there no fucking continues? Why?
Even now, yeah, I mean, especially like him in his 20s. Like,
If he didn't work, the show doesn't work. And we know Mike would not have worked.
not at all. Yeah. In the same way that, like, Chris Bores.
Doug Walker works and Rob Walker don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Same sort of idea. Rob Walker's probably an essential ingredient to Channel Awesome.
Yeah, he does a lot of the writing,
Is there anything left to say about that video before we move on to Inspector Gadget?
Ooh, we're going to talk about Inspector Gadget?
We're going to do Gadget.
All right. Heck yeah.
So then Mike's like, I'm not done with the celebrations. I'm putting out one more video, and it's going on the Mike Matei channel.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not putting James through this. Kevin, do you know the Inspector Gadget lore?
I don't. I was Inspector Gadget for Halloween when I was a kid. It was the movie that came out. It was the live-action movie. I liked that as a kid, though I don't remember much of it now.
Oh, the Matthew Broderick one. There was a really funny video. It was kind of an off-the-cuff video of James and Mike watching a Super Mario Brothers Super Show DVD. Such a good idea for a video. The DVD itself, the episodes were not of interest. It was the menus that were of interest. And because it was a Deke Entertainment DVD, for some reason this particular DVD menu was very overproduced. And it was Inspector Gadget in the center of the screen going like, use the buttons on the remote control to move the glow.
Move to these buttons by pushing the arrow buttons. The button you're on will glow. Whatever.
Jason, I love when you said it at PAX East, Jason. It cracked me up so much.
Well, you got to use the mouse to move the glow across the screen.
Move the glow and select the subtitles, and you can go to another menu.
Welcome to the languages menu.
And so it's just James and Mike laughing their heads off at this.
Just doing the voice. Like, I mean, part of, like, the whole fun is just them sitting, like, making fun of the menu, them just doing the Inspector Gadget voice. Like, oh, move the glow over your asshole.
Move the glow from my ass cheek to my asshole, and that's where you'll find the main menu of your DVD.
Mike, I think, assumed everybody saw that video. Because he goes on to make, while James is busy, he's like, I got to make something with somebody.
Might as well be Gadget.
So this, MS Paint version of Inspector Gadget that he drew.
I love the slowly moving pupils. It's great.
Adobe Premiere animation. And he's like, hey, everybody, I'm sitting here with Inspector Gadget.
Hey, everybody, I'm here with my good friend, Inspector Gadget.
Say hi, Inspector Gadget. And then it's Mike's voice being like, hello.
How you doing, Inspector Gadget?
I'm having a lot of fun.
And he's like, I'm just playing this new game called Minecraft. And he's like, oh, you can build brown bricks with Minecraft.
Oh, yes, this is it. Minecraft.
No, Inspector Gadget. It's called Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft. I cannot wait to play Minecraft. Do you know what my favorite thing to do is in Minecraft? I love building bricks with Minecraft. Building bricks with Minecraft is the best thing and the most amount of fun you can have while playing an app.
And it goes on like this for 5 minutes or so, and then it ends. And it's just him doing the voice, and it's very cringe and very strange. I think Mike felt like, oh, it wasn't well received. I guess I wasn't very funny. So he pulled the video down, and it created this kind of Streisand effect where everybody's like, no.
We're not done with it.
It took on a life of its own. People have remixed it. Mike pointed out in this video when he was explaining the whole thing, he's like, one guy did a version called like No Inspector Gadget, where it's just Mike sitting by himself, talking to himself. Our friend, Lord Taco, created a Game Boy Color version of it that got featured on this video.
And as far as the couch goes, that's where Inspector Gadget and I would have sex. I would ejaculate ropes and ropes of cum onto those pillows. And if that wasn't enough, Gadget is a cyborg. When his 18-inch penis would ejaculate, it was essentially like a fire hose.
Yeah, but so off the back of our last point, the whole video is an entire demonstration of why he couldn't have been AVGN.
Correct. Exactly. And there's another one just like it where he's watching Elmo in Grouchland on DVD by himself in a bizarre, in what I assume is James's living room. I don't know why.
No, he says in the beginning of the video, he's like, I'm here at James's house and it's daytime. And then the next shot is nighttime at the same room. Yeah, he introduces the video by saying, hey, Mike here. I'm here at James's house.
Hey, it's Mike. I'm here at James's place.
Kev, he's watching Elmo in Grouchland, like a movie for like 3-year-olds. And he decides like he's gonna mock it.
Fuck Elmo.
He keeps doing this terrible Elmo voice where he's like, Elmo's gonna fucking slit his fucking wrists. Elmo needs to fucking come.
Elmo has to slit his fucking wrists. Elmo doesn't have a blanket. I have to slit my fucking Elmo wrist now.
That's the thing about Mike, is that he's a tad bit insufferable.
This is why both men are essential.
Because you give the same bits to James, he can soften them and make them work.
I think he'd be like, I'm not going to say that about Elmo.
Actually, when I enjoy James the least is when he does an impression instead of just an analyzation.
I distinctly remember printing out happy birthday banners and stuff like that, which would just print across several sheets of paper. It would come out, it would take like an hour, and it'd be like...
And I've got the same with so many comedians. Like Conan O'Brien will have me like right on the hook of laughing. And instead of leaving it at the hook, he does an impersonation of what he's talking about. I'm like, now you lost me.
Yeah, it's better when it's like, where it feels like the observational humor of James Rolfe.
Yeah,
right?
I forget what comedian told Joe Rogan. I think it was Jeff Garland, who was like, why, if you're making a joke about sex, why do you have to act out humping on the stage when we know what sex looks like?
And you know what's so funny? Years ago, I remember anytime I saw someone miming having sex, pumping air, I would just go, not funny. Who doesn't know what that looks like? Why do you need to pump?
You got Jim Carrey type people that got to see it, and then you got people that like to hear people complain more, like a George Carlin, and that's why.
It's just what fits.
Yeah.
So, Mike put out a video, an 8-minute video or so, where he describes all this, and he goes like, I love it now. I embrace it.
It became its own little corner of the internet, and honestly, that's the part that made it memorable.
He says it here. He goes, it's like stage 5 acceptance. I embrace it.
People joke to me about stage 5 acceptance. Well, I've embraced it. I even sell t-shirts and mugs with brown bricks on them now.
When these videos came out, like, everybody hated them. And then, like, 5, 6, 7 years later, whatever, they were kind of just dug up and, like, remember when Mike did this crazy shit? Isn't it so absurd that these videos existed? Kind of on that level is when people started to enjoy them.
Unlike James, who more or less disconnected from the public, Mike kind of ran the side of the company that interfaced with the public. So Mike was the Reddit guy, and Mike was the, answerer of some emails and stuff. And so he, after a while, like, he was defensive, I guess, or he would hide posts, or, blocked people too much. I don't know if you know this, Kevin, the Cinemassacre Truth predates Screenwave. It predates all. It was because like a bunch of fans hated Mike.
Well, then this was a really informative video for them. Like, this is the guy you were hating on, the guy that like literally almost just about ran the ship and did everything besides play the fucking character.
What happened was, in time, especially once Screenwave came in and stuff, they kind of were like, well, actually, we like Mike. And actually, some of this is because of Sleepy James, and some of this is because of, whatever. The targets changed.
I heard Justin was nervous before the show. He couldn't figure out what he was going to wear, either honey glazed or pineapple slices.
This joke is taken from a Gilbert Gottfried roast.
She couldn't decide between the honey glaze or pineapple slices.
These days, there's no reason to hit these men in the balls. This is a great channel that's been around for a long time. There are some memes, everlasting memes. Gadget is a good example. You know, Sly is Aware is a good example. They're fun. They're funny. That's the right attitude. I don't see it, like, I don't really, to be honest with you, I'm not like on that board very often, but I'm not seeing a lot of like animus or hatred or anything like that.
James should definitely sell a Sly is Aware shirt. My God.
Yeah, just do it.
I'll never understand the humor in that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm never gonna understand the humor in that. Like, for a guy that like reviewed all the Rocky movies to be told, like, you know, Sly knows that like what we're up to today. Like, of course he's gonna be like jazzed up about it.
I told Sly that we were gonna do this, so when you approached me about it, I told him, and then that was kind of a while ago, and then I told him the other day. So he's very aware of what we're doing.
You're telling me that Sylvester Stallone knows that we're doing this?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little funny.
I'm so weird. It's like, I know it's so weird. I shouldn't even be here. I don't understand internet culture. I don't understand some of it. But
you don't understand our culture.
Cinemassacre came into the same era that all of entertainment got dragged into.
Toe Jam and Earl, more like.
Let it out. Let it out.
Toe Jam and Hurl. I'd rather eat the sticky toe jam off the foot of an athlete after a sweaty marathon.
That's gross.
You know, we're talking 20 years. So, you know, sometime in the interim of all that was the shift between almost like a warship of celebrity, clout, internet celebrity. Then we came into, maybe especially like most pertinent with people my age, is like now we're disenchanted with celebrity. Now we enjoy being able to critique the people that are more famous than us as being part of that viewing experience, is getting to say like, I would have done it differently. I don't think it's as good. I can point out your flaws. So that's just as a culture. Cinemassacre grew through that culture like every other long running show or any other long running entertainment. That kind of almost explains it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like Jason said, like in so many ways, this channel fed internet culture. And then at some point, the abyss stared back.
Fuck.
Hopefully now it's in a more stable spot. This just in, this is for EJ. Justin Silverman commented on our clip about you, about Baby Clara. Congrats. Next PAX. Hopefully you can come along. Not big on your Final Fantasy VI party though.
Can you tell him to be nice?
Fuck you.
Yeah, I was trying to use characters I've never used before, so I was using Gao, Strago.
That's weird.
Well, in Final Fantasy VI, you can really just use anybody. You just teach them Ultima, right?
Justin's aware.
Well, thank you, Justin.
Where?
It means a lot.
And so it's almost like in the position of like co-producer or whatever you want to call it. Mike's looking at Justin and the guy's going, dude, I did what 7 of you couldn't. Like, you can't. With the Elmo impressions and everything.
I haven't seen any of you do any fucking Elmo impression.
Emma's not here. Suck Elmo's dick. That's my idea.
Dude, really, after hearing all this, I'm in the Northeast. I do content. I do film. Like, I would go, just hearing all this, I wish you could go right to Mike. Like, Mike, can you be a producer on something? Like, rather than like any of Screenwave.
You show up with your Ernie puppet, Mike.
People have asked, they've been like, would you ever want to interview James or something like that? And I'm like, well, no, I don't think so. But I'd love to have a podcast with Mike. I think it'd be really, really fun. I have tons of questions, tons of great conversation. I think he's a great conversationalist. I'm a Mike fan, and he is a fucking freak. And I do like him. I think he's very funny.
And you can stick the nunchuck into the Wii maraca or whatever they call it, the Samba de Amigo maraca, and shake, 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 shake. Keep your eye on the fucking road. I want to be in the mood if we're playing some fucking Samba de Amigo. Ay, caramba!
He has the spunk to match your guys' rhythm.
I remember the earliest Mike criticism I ever remember was on Game Grumps. Like, Aaron Hansen did an impression of him.
Are you impressed? Do you like how I slide? Slide it right in. Slide.
That was a Matei joke for you.
Fucking, like, what is that, a castle? Why is there a castle in my Sonic game? Yeah, isn't this supposed to be castles in Sonic games? What is this, Castlevania? Yeah. Castle my asshole.
It was the first time, like, oh, I know who that is. Like that's like a deep cut for that era.
And nowadays, Aaron watches Waiting for Nintendo, the podcast co-hosted by famous Jason Graves. Isn't that, he seems to be a regular, right, Aaron?
He's a fan of Shredder. I know that. Well, whenever we mention him, somebody sends him the clip. I think that's the basis he's watching us on.
It's like when people mention us, for better or for worse, they send us a clip.
You may have heard of this game. It's considered a grand adventure and has appeared on many top 10 lists, including ones from Mike Matei, Sega Lord X, Watch Mojo, IGN, Game Chasers, and some weird channel called Red Cow Arcade.
You can always go watch Waiting for Nintendo if you're looking for another podcast.
When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, like that song.
They did that song, yeah.
Well, they did that song, but Yoshi hijacks the last line and says Yoshi.
That would have made me leave the theater.
They upload every single day. I listen every single day. Unless they do a Let's Play, and then I'm skipping.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it. I love actually the conversation in those videos. So
we don't even talk about the game. Yeah.
It's just a continuation of the podcast, even the Let's Plays.
I think I'm intimidated. I'm like, are they going to start talking about Pokemon menus? I don't want anything to do with that. You know what? I watched you play Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just a
Your
little too...
mansion here. You know, I was just watching Dora the Explorer earlier today with my son, and they also had a map in that.
Here's an observation I had, actually, the last time we were recording one of those, and it's whenever he's playing, it's about the game. Whenever I'm playing, it's not. It totally isn't. We just talk about literally anything else.
One of the custodians had some beef with another of the custodians, and so during lunch, while all the kids are eating at like the long lunch tables or whatever, comes in and just fucking shoots the guy, kills him.
What? I don't know why that is.
For those who are like, I want Red Cow to cover this topic or whatever, waiting for Nintendo, because they don't edit, almost certainly will beat us to it. So you just go get your fix over there.
Sometimes we get backlogged and we're really behind on stuff. So,
and of course the Jason Graves channel. Anything you can tease here, on the Red Cow channel?
Oh, I have no idea. Well, I don't know. The problem with like coming on here is like I don't know when this is going to air, so I don't know like where my channel's going to be. So
weeks from now.
I do whatever I feel like. So stay tuned.
We know that there's a Game Gear thing coming up. We know there's more shopping coming up. It's going to be fun.
That's really far away. Game Gear stuff, I'm just like acquiring stuff. I'm not actually making it. I got to get the Jaguar at some point. I got to do the next Goodwill video. I'm still talking about Zelda games.
Wait, you haven't done a Jaguar yet?
No, I got to. I still have to. I got all the stuff. I just haven't actually talked about it yet.
Are you going to put like chocolate peanut butter into it like it's shit and then try to close the lid? What a horrible thing to do to a Jaguar.
To a CD. Even broken, those things are like $1,000, the CD units. So yeah, like looking back on him ruining one for that joke, it was still worth it.
It probably cost $10. I remember he destroyed a 32X too. Those are like $110.
I did see. I saw one priced locally at still it was about $700.
It's went up that high, huh? That's fucked up.
For a Jaguar CD, yeah.
And then Kev, what do you got going on at the Jimmy channel?
Oh, the Jimmy channel is great, man. It's just watching somebody who is not familiar with modern culture at all, just try to figure out video games at 30. I just fucking died because I'm trying to commentate and play this at the same time. I stopped paying attention to video games 10 years ago, and I just tapped back in, and I don't know how anything works. Who just mentioned Luigi's Mansion? I just found out the first one existed, and there's 3.
I think they're real, but they're super, super rare. And then she goes, guess not. She finds 5 of them. 5 of them.
I just saw 3. I just saw 3 in the store.
I found out there's 3 of these fucking things. He's in 3 mansions.
Yeah, and a girl I see gifted me a Switch Lite. I don't know if that's modern or if that's still 3 years behind, but I'm having fun with that. It took me a whole 4 days and talking to your group chat to figure out how to work the thing, but that's been fun. I downloaded a game out of the ether.
I love it when Grandpa shows up in the general channel to be like, all the young, and generally he's talking to people who are older than him.
Yeah, and, I don't know, the next video I'm doing, I was keeping up pretty good for a while there, but I got sick again, so I fell off with weekly uploads, but I'm going to get back at it soon. Right now, I'm just falling in love with Mario all over again. So I'm playing the latest one, which is the first current Mario game I've played in forever, first relevant console I've owned in forever.
You got to play Mario 2 Japan and hate yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I'm not even going to attempt that one. Nope.
So hard. What do you think of Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins?
You know, the thing with Mario for me is that, you know how there's things that are so, there's characters in entertainment that become so classic, you really forget what made them classic in the first place. And I think Mario has suffered that greatly with the fact that he's never allowed to go anywhere, almost just like Frankenstein's never allowed to go anywhere. It's always got to be part of the culture. And you think of it as maybe this cutesy character from a TV show, a relevant movie that just came out. His inception was the most addictive game for a cat that's really, I am the least fluent gamer in this chat, but that is the only game that you give me if put it in my hands and now I'm having trouble putting it down. And the magic of what made that is something I can discuss forever. So that's my latest video coming up.
On SMB1.
I mainly refer to the third one when I say that because I think that is the, no debate, greatest video game.
Yeah, it's the polished version of the first one in a lot of ways.
Yeah, pretty much. But even just all of them, man, it's a played out point to say Mario is cool. But it's like, yeah, we get it. But what character was reinvented for every era and every new console with such like respect? Nintendo was like, we have to earn him being relevant instead of being like, yeah, here's like Lethal Weapon 8, only it's Mario. Like we gave up, we don't care, but take it.
Yeah, they and generally speaking, they're like, do not fuck up our Mario. Like, take some extra time, make sure every single game is good. I bring up 6 golden coins because there's been some controversy in some of our conversation. Jason has a hate campaign against Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. He's trying to spread it to others.
Here's something else I just found out about. Nobody told me about this. Homebrewed video games. Is that one of them?
No. This is a mainline Game Boy game. But yes, homebrew. I have. Look, you want a homebrew recommendation right now that you can't go wrong with? Super Mario 3 Mix for the NES. Play it, you'll love it.
I'm getting all of them. I just found out homebrew games were a thing.
Not all of them are good. Not everybody's Nintendo, but this one's really good.
But we're talking about DS games, DS graphics on a Super Nintendo for some of them. I was beside myself when I found out about this.
There's Mario Land for SNES. That's a really cool one.
That one.
That's that's a really fun one.
Yeah, so cool. There's nothing I love more than the idea of Nintendo games coming out in 2026, like on the cartridge. I love that.
There's a really great Super Mario World ROM hack called Sakari and Sakari 2. And it's like, it doesn't look anything like Mario, but it's all the same engine, and it's fascinating.
The only thing about those Super Mario ROM hacks, which I don't really know what ROM hack means, but I know like these reiterations of Super Mario Brothers, I think a lot of them were made to make Super Mario World infinitely more difficult. And that's not of interest to me because I'll fail every time.
Oh, like Kaizo, whatever. Yeah,
I'll fail every time.
So homebrew is when you make a brand new game for the NES, let's say. And a ROM hack is when you take an existing game and make a new game out of it.
Love the description of it too. Like I saw a description of one that were like, the creator is aimless and nobody knows who he is, so Nintendo can't come after him. I'm like, that is badass.
Are you a Sonic guy, Sega?
Tiny bit. All he does is run.
Somebody redid Sonic Triple Trouble for the Game Gear into a full-blown like Genesis style game, and it's very, very good.
Jason will probably get a kick out of this. I am so tapped out of video games. Like I stopped paying attention for so long and I just got back involved. Everyone at work was laughing at me. I did get Sonic for the PS3. First time I ever saw it, blew my mind. Everybody at work is laughing at me. They're like, do you know how old that is? I'm like, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Look how fast.
Is that Sonic Generations?
Yeah, what game are you talking about specifically?
Sonic 06?
What is this? Get off! What is this? I'm stuck!
Not Sonic 06.
Yeah, I think so. Sonic 06?
It can't be that one.
No.
It could be.
Name another one. How many were there? I thought
Unleashed?
Sonic Generations, I would think. That's Xbox 360, PS3.
I think it's that one, but
could be Unleashed.
Sonic Unleashed, where he turns into a werewolf.
I think so. It was like a whole damn Pixar movie. It was like out of this world, and everybody at work was...
Oh, it might have been 06 then.
I think it's Generations. Generations is fucking amazing. You're right. I remember when I saw it 20 years ago, and I thought it was really great, too.
I was so blown away that despite all the the fun grandpa humor, because it is fun to be as checked out as I am, because I get this shit for a fraction of the price and I am blown away, and everybody else needs the latest thing.
I love it, man. It's like, go back and play something. That everybody could learn from that. It's like, there's games you haven't played before. Play those.
Yeah. When people are like, oh, the games are $80, I'm like, no, they aren't if you buy the old ones.
No, I just think actually the biggest video game nerd thing I can say is to not take a moment to appreciate how far we came by PS3 when you look at something like Sonic Unleashed. Is like not taking a moment to appreciate part of like gaming history, considering that's history. Like I know it was 20 years ago, but like that it took us so long to get to that point where a video game was like a whole Pixar movie. And just because you've polished them up little by little, and I guess the latest graphics are HD, it doesn't make me devalue that. I'm still like, whoa, when I look at that.
Well, it's crazy. That shit came out in like 2010, and it wasn't all that long after the 2D bit era. All right, well, I think that pretty much wraps up. Jason, thank you so much for lending your celebrity to our show. And and Kev, thank you for lending your celebrity to our show.
Thank you.
You've been nothing but views for this channel. The Kino Casino loves you.
Yeah, you got to send me that. I don't know about the Gugino Casino, but you guys show me that.
I'll send it to you.
You know, Red Cow Arcade.
We all know.
I actually
we
really
all
like
know
those guys.
the goated Red Cow Arcade.
Is he that
buddy.
Jimmy guy, the jacked guy? Or no?
No,
I'll link it to you later. All right.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.